Fam, what's going on? It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys being here. Welcome to our signing day coverage. We are early. It is popping. There is a lot going on. We're going to walk you through it. This is our big board today. We are tracking the news as it comes in. I'm sure you're watching the Alabama official account, and there's already been some notable news this morning, and as the players do officially sign, we will put the logo next to the prospect's name, and as you can see, it's stars on stars. We do have one guy crossed out. That was something that we'll talk about as well. That's Jace Clarizio. Did I say that right, T?
You did.
All right, we got that right, and he has actually flipped back to Michigan State basically in the last hour. So I appreciate you guys being here. I know we usually start at 10 in our morning shows, but this is a little bit different because we have signing day. We are ready to go. So we appreciate you guys being here. Let everybody get checked in inside the comment box. And thank you very much for joining us today on the program. Bama Football on YouTube. Please take a minute to hit the thumbs up button and let us know where you guys are coming from inside the comment box. Now, the news for today started out with Justin Hill. And how this show is going to work is we are going to talk about the news that has happened. We're going to highlight the prospects. We're going to go over some video highlights from each of these prospects as well. So the first half of this show, it probably go 2 hours. We'll see how we're feeling. And what we're going to do is we'll break down the prospects that have signed. We'll look at their highlight tapes. We'll have some calls. We'll have fun with it today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. And then the second half of the show will be our college football playoff show. All right, so a lot to go over. I know you guys are just getting checked in, so take a minute, hit the thumbs up, and I appreciate you guys being here on the program this morning. Now, Justin Hill, he was the first guy to start it out. How are you guys feeling about the Alabama football graphics that have been tweeted out? A lot of people talking about those. You can't really see the face, T.
I hate them. I think they're terrible.
Yeah, it's not the best work, but every year is different. Some years are better than others. This year probably missed, but the graphics are part of it. Now, I think the biggest piece of news so far is the fact that Keelan Russell, he jumps on board. And T, do we have on our social page, do we have a shot of Keelan Russell and Ryan Williams? All right, I'll go to that here in just a second. One of the biggest things so far that I've seen, and when we look to these social media graphics, is the fact that Keelan Russell, he signed, right? And it was cool. I watched the signing show. It was on Instagram Live. But guess who joined him? And right underneath in this box up here, as you could see, Ryan Williams. And I was thinking about it, and T made a good point this morning too. She's like, are they both 17 years old? And I was like, interesting point. And then she's like, these are 10 stars combined. And then I brought up the fact that you get a player like Keelan Russell coming in. He's the first 5-star that is signed under Coach Kellen. I don't know how he keeps doing this. It's probably, I guess, just by chance. But he's the first 5-star that has signed. And the very first 5-star that he ever signed was Keelan Russell, right? So Keelan Russell comes in. I posted up a video earlier on today talking about Russell signing with Alabama and what it means for this recruiting class. And really the thing about this, T, the first guy from 2024 is a 5-star. And the first guy from 2025 is a 5-star. Yeah. Your excitement level inside the comment box on Keelan Russell signing with Alabama on a scale of 1 to 10. All right, we're going to show highlights, and we'll talk about all these players in just a second. Let's warm up the show, let everybody get checked in. I know it's a little bit early. Today is a different day because it is signing day. We had everything prepped and ready to go, so we're feeling good with it. The big board right now, if you're just checking in, looks like this. Alabama's football class of 2025. I'll go full screen on this, and I'm checking my phone because every single time these there's so much to watch, so much to track. This is the class of 2025, and this will all be updated with logos of Alabama once the player has officially signed. Players are signing at different points in time. I left a spot to the bottom right for Derek Meadows. So if Derek Meadows does commit, if he does flip from LSU, we'll have you covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube, and we'll break the news and we'll talk about it, and we'll dive into it. But so far, pretty much what we expected, and I don't think there's any other major announcements that are going to be happening. It's kind of just like rehashing this first signing day, and I think one of the benefits, this is strange, but listen to this. One of the benefits of Coach Kalen DeBoer not getting ready for a conference championship game is the fact that he can sit and monitor the Alabama football roster. You get what I'm saying? Because think about all this is happening, right? Like recruiting 2025, that's going to take a lot of your energy, a lot of your time, a lot of focus. You also have to talk about player and roster management, because the transfer portal opens up on December 9th. So I'm sure his door is open. Players are rotating in. You had 2 players at the transfer portal yesterday, Kobe Prentice and Jalil Hurley. So my point is he has time and he can use his resources to roster management. Not to say that he's not caring about the playoffs. I mean, he must have spoke to a bunch of people yesterday. Yes, Keelan has signed. It's up at the top. The logos next to the name indicate that they have signed. All right, so we'll continue to put that inside the comment box. And yesterday, he made his case for Alabama making the playoffs, and, they're in at the 11th spot. I think they'll stay at the 11th spot, maybe slide down to 12. I'm feeling good that they just stay at 11. And now he can dedicate his time and resources to continuing to build out this class of 2025. I don't know where Alabama will fall in the final rankings or whatever. I don't really look too much about that, but what's impressive to me is that he's able to have a top 5 class, considering you're taking over for Coach Saban, the best ever to do it on the field and in recruiting. Let's not forget that Coach Saban, the best thing about him was his ability to recruit at the highest level, right? That guy was an absolute closer. And for Coach Kalen DeBoer and his new staff to be able to step in and have, a top 5, I would imagine they're top 3 at the end of the day. Really, really impressive. Even more so is that, I would say Auburn won the state, but the overall, war is Alabama won the in-state recruiting war, and that's having a better ranked class, winning on the field, right? Of course, Courtney Morgan, a huge part to deal with that. All right, we'll talk about some of these prospects as they come in. Most of these guys, a lot of them have been signed. A couple other things that we're watching today. Derek Meadows, 6'6", wide receiver out of Nevada. He has been forecasted, crystal balled, predicted, whatever you want to call it, to flip from LSU to Alabama. If that happens at some point in time today, we will keep you posted on that news. We will jump right in with the breaking update. If you have a question about someone that might have signed or didn't sign or whatever, post it inside the comment box. We will get back to you. We are also watching for Ty Haywood. I don't think that he's going to sign today, but I think he is going to flip to Michigan. I don't know when that would be. I don't know if that'll be today, but I don't expect, and I don't think any of the recruiting sites that follow this on a daily expect Ty Haywood to sign with Alabama. Why? Well, NIL, right? I mean, you're what Michigan's been able to do from an NIL standpoint has been really impressive. I mean, you saw Portnoy explain that he linked up with the billionaire, and the billionaire's wife said, I don't want to lose anymore. I want to stack trophies on top of each other. So Alabama needs to go into the billionaire resources and pull people out to continue to build and foster this Alabama recruiting team. But look, the thing about it is when you get a player like Keelan Russell coming in, that is the foundation of your recruiting class, right? And I think players want to play for him. I mean, you saw Ryan Williams step up, and he was on his live stream. I think that shows you how excited he is about the future of quarterback. And I think, like, the quarterback of the future, like, the quarterback is now. And let me ask you this, inside the comment box as we start to kind of gravitate towards looking at player highlights. Do you think that Keelan Russell will make a push to play or to start in 2025? I think he's good enough. I really do. I think he's coming here to play. And let me tell you this, too, before we look at his highlights. Somebody asked me recently, who does Keelan Russell compare to in terms of Alabama quarterbacks recently? He doesn't compare to Jalen Milroe. He doesn't compare to Bryce Young. He doesn't compare to Mac Jones. He doesn't compare to Tua, and he doesn't compare to Jalen Hurts. He's completely different than all of those quarterbacks, okay? And I think, you know, in looking at some comparisons and what he brings to the field and what he brings to Alabama football, this is the quarterback that Coach Kalen DeBoer wants to work with. This is the type of quarterback that I think will be kind of, you know, the key elements to run this offense. I think right now they're using Jalen Milroe based on his skill set, and he can win games based on maybe even because of his shortcomings. Like, he's just the best quarterback for the job right now. But in terms of like the quarterback for the future and how they want this offense to run, I think that Keelan Russell brings a lot to the table. Looking at his highlights right here, as you can see, he moves really well in the pocket. He has big playability right here. He's able to keep his eyes downfield, connect with the wide receiver. Now, he has elite wide receivers, and he's going to have plenty to work with here at the University of Alabama. This is a 44-yard touchdown pass right here. Good protection. Really good touch on downfield throws. He's got a really big arm. He's 6'4". I don't necessarily think that he's comparable to Bryce Young, to be honest. I mean, he's about 6 inches taller than Bryce Young. He probably the same speed as Bryce Young, but I think he's comparable. And I said this in a video that we're talking about Keelan Russell, if he just jumped on board. I think he's honestly comparable to Jaden Daniels. Remember Jaden Daniels for LSU? I think, and you know what? I think it's he's like a blend of Michael Penix Jr. and of Jaden Daniels. I think that's who we're looking at here. And this is the quarterback that they want to build the offense around. This is who they want to utilize all of the wide receivers. So, like, look, I understand Kobe Prentice just hit the transfer portal yesterday, but I think if you're a wide receiver, you need to be patient and you need to see who the quarterback is going to be for next season. Look, you know what we don't really see from Jalen Milroe, which we see a lot from Keelan Russell if you watch his highlights, is the fact that, you know, oftentimes he's able to make big plays in the red zone by throwing, not necessarily running, but like throwing off his back foot, making plays to like throw the football inside the red zone in 10-yard situation to his wide receivers. I really feel that this guy, this is Michael Carroll. We'll talk about him next. We'll kind of rewind on more highlights of Keelan Russell. I really feel that this is a quarterback that will be able to distribute the football to all of his targets rather than just focusing in on 2, 3, right? I think all these wide receivers are about to get fed. And what will happen is if those wide receivers are getting fed, it's going up to open up the run game. I think people forget sometimes that last season at Washington did have a running back hit 1,000 yards. I think in this offense, based on the two running backs, you were going to have kind of a running back by committee. But I think this quarterback will be able to distribute the football more. So same thing with Ty. And it's worth talking about, right? In kind of the future of the Alabama quarterback position is who will be next, right? Who will be the next quarterback to start? And that's kind of something I want to ask you inside the comment box before we start talking about our next prospect. T, if you could get this up in a poll, I appreciate this. You have, and we're talking future of the quarterback position, and what we're going to do is break down the players that have signed and show their highlights. I have a few of them. I didn't list all 22, but I got, there's like 12 to 15 that we'll run through the highlights and talk about them. And then if you just joined us, in case you missed it, what we do is we have this graphic that we'll kind of be living off of. And We're updating this, right? Continually. We're putting up an Alabama logo. Basically, that is our check mark. Remember, the last couple of years, we did the check marks. This year, we're doing the logo. I mean, should we go back to the check marks?
I like that.
Yeah. Okay, I like it too. All right. Okay. So, as I was going to ask you, when you look at the quarterback for next year here at Alabama, maybe we put a poll. But let's poll it this way. What are the chances that Keelan Russell starts as a true freshman? And then whatever type of options you want to put in there, maybe like high probability, mid probability, low probability. I honestly think that based on his skill set and the type of quarterback that he is, I really think that he'll make a push for playing time. And I think you'll have a hell of a quarterback battle. I've mentioned plenty of times that I do think you're going to have a quarterback transfer out. I feel that it's going to be Dylan Lonergan, but I have no real intel on that. That's just my own speculation. Just based on knowing the roster. I mean, we talked about Kobe Prentice hitting the portal. He hit the portal just because it made sense. We didn't have any intel on that, but if you follow the team and you know the beat, you knew that, some of these wide receivers were going to leak out. We're saying the same thing about the quarterbacks. Someone asked a good question, too. They're like, where are the 5 stars on defense? We'll talk about Dejon Lee, who's signing. He's having a signing ceremony, I think, this afternoon. He should be sending in his paperwork shortly. He's 6'3", 6'4" cornerback. You're going to love his highlights. So Dejon Lee, remember the name. Seriously. You have him, Xavier Brown, Chuck McDonald, Zay Mincy, Jalen Mbakwe. No, the second, that's where your 5-star is. But I get it. I would like to see a 5-star outside linebacker, but just wait till we look at Cavante Henry, who's a junior college prospect who's signing in this class. You're going to like his highlights as well. And kind of, touching on this quarterback deal with Keelan Russell coming in, I think the future of the Alabama quarterback is now. What will happen with Ty Simpson? I think he's gonna battle. I mean, he has to be the odds-on favorite to clearly start and to operate this offense. He's the only quarterback that has had, wouldn't say significant time this year, but he did have playing time. Now, we did see in that Mercer game all of the quarterbacks work the offense, but Ty was able to play against Wisconsin. He played last year against Kentucky. He played last year against South Florida, won the game against South Florida. It's interesting to talk about because it is the quarterback position, and it's because and this is the crazy thing about Keelan Russell. Think about this. Look at his stats, first of all. And he's playing in the quarterfinals in Texas. I believe his team is undefeated again. Last year, they won a state championship. This year, they're trying to make a run for the state championship. He's thrown for 6,900 yards, 87 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions. But think about this. While he's a consensus 5-star, he's the number 1 player in Texas. Isn't that crazy? See?
Yeah.
Like, out of all the people in Texas, all of them, this guy in high school is the number 1 player to come in. That's amazing to me. Like, Texas is like, there's
Its own country.
Yeah, well there's it is its own country. But you have Florida, Texas, California, Georgia. Those are like your pinnacle high school football states, right? Probably Ohio too, Pennsylvania, I guess. But like for Keelan Russell to be the number 1 guy to Texas and signing, it's amazing. Jar, what's up? And for everybody jumping in, we started the show early because, it's signing day. There's a lot going on. There's enough news to work with. So we're rolling with it. Our first half of our show will be recruiting. The second half of the show will be college football playoffs. All right. So what we're doing right here, running through the highlights, talking about the team. And as we get moving forward, we'll continue to update this list right here. There's the signing class. And the logos represent the player has sent in his paperwork to sign officially. The Michigan State one, I get it. That was weird. Jace Calzario, Clarizio ended up signing with Michigan State. He flipped to Bama and then flipped back to Michigan State. Whatever.
Flipped from Michigan State to Bama back to Michigan State. Mm-hmm.
And the thing with that is Alabama now will only sign one running back today, right? Which will be A.K. Deere. We'll show his highlights in just a second. But the thing about it is, if you even got it, let's say Turbo's still here. Let's say Jace Clarizio is still here. Where are these guys going to play? I get it from the depth perspective, but let's run over the running back depth chart. And we'll show that graphic in just a second. Remember the graphic with the snap counts? Yeah. Jam Miller, Justice Haynes, Richard Young, Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley, A.K. Deere. That's 6, right? Where are you going to fit in? All right, we'll go back to the highlights, and I'm about to show you Michael Carroll. All right, now he is not officially signed yet, but we'll show his highlights anyways. This young man, I think, and while the hype is going to always be around the quarterback and the big guys don't get kind of that notoriety, Michael Carroll is just as important as Keelan Russell. Did you hear what I said? Michael Carroll is just as important as Keelan Russell. This was a 5-star that you 1,000,000% needed in the class of 2025. He's going to be a cornerstone piece on the offensive line. While you're losing Ty Haywood to Michigan, it would have been devastating to lose Michael Carroll to a Colorado or to somewhere else. Ty Haywood hurts 100%. Caleb Cunningham, yeah, that's disappointing, but you still have depth at wide receiver. Turbo Rogers, well, like when was he going to play? Dawson Merritt, not too worried about it, right? You probably take a transfer portal guy at the linebacker position anyways. And with this Jace Clarizio, not that big of a deal because, again, where was he going to stay, right? Robert, I don't think that Jam's going to go to the NFL. I really don't. I think he's coming back. All right. So getting to Michael Carroll, 6'6", 315 pounds, currently at the IMG Academy. Now, he's out of Pennsylvania. So the highlights that I'm going to show you are mostly from his junior season, which are sufficient enough. He's clearly the biggest get for Alabama on the offensive line, along with, I guess now Jackson Lloyd, right? He is physical. He is dominating. He's big. He's nasty. Don't let this look. He looks like a nice guy, right, T?
Yeah.
Look, right. He looks like a nice young man.
Sweet kid.
On the football field, he is nasty. He is big. He is mean. Just wait. The highlights are coming up. All right. His family played Division I, right? Pops played football at Penn State, and his mom, I think, played basketball at Michigan State. You're talking about like somebody who has the genetics to just be, different. Playing at Alabama, different. And I love the fact that Alabama was able to keep that IMG pipeline good, right? You look to the past guys from the IMG Academy and how those guys have come. For those asking about Haywood, he hasn't officially flipped, but it's looking like that's going to be the case. Look at this first play I'm about to show you, okay? We'll zoom in just a second. Let's see if we can get that. This first play I'm about to show you, all right, right here. Let's see. That's not it. This is it. 1 second. Let me get this updated. Okay. Michael Carroll. Wait till. Are you watching this? Yeah. Wait till you see this. Okay. Michael Carroll. These are high school highlights. So if your discretion advised, you can even see his mom on the video say, "Oh my goodness, stop, Michael. Watch this." He throws his kid down. He hits him again. Like he's big. He's nasty. He's mean. Your offensive linemen need to have that type of mentality. You see that? He's ferocious. I'm telling you, this is a cornerstone piece, and you have to zoom in and kind of look at the highlights here. But I noticed, and this is look at that. Did you see that? He just threw this young man to the side. He plays on the, I guess obviously on his junior year, because this was when he was in Pennsylvania before he went to the IMG Academy. He's playing on the defensive side of the ball, so 330 pounds, super athletic. I kind of, you know what's crazy? I kind of like him on the defensive side. Here he is. So he's all over the place. So I think this was a clear must get. Look, a lot of his highlights are on the U. I love the fact that he plays both sides of the football. Now, he will be an interior offensive lineman, I would imagine, here at the University of Alabama. You're looking at a guard, right? John Martinez is saying we need Derek Meadows. Yeah, if the Derek Meadows news breaks, we will definitely go to that. He hasn't flipped at this point in time. We're just typing up Michael Carroll real quick, a lineman, and sometimes you lose sight on some of these guys. I didn't know that he played so much defense until I started watching his highlights. But both sides of the ball, I would imagine he's a guard, and depending on what happens with Alabama at the guard situation, you certainly need someone to step up. I think on the right side of the guard, specifically for Alabama, they struggled this year. Now, can he come in as a freshman and compete for a job? Maybe. But Jaden Roberts, I think that the thing with Derek, or Jaden Roberts rather, is he just wasn't healthy and hasn't been. Maybe he can heal up by the time the playoffs come. And Geno Vandermark, I mean, I thought he was okay. I thought he'd be a little bit better. He's a transfer in from Michigan State. We're looking at Michael Carroll's highlights, and then we'll look at Dejon Lee's next. We're kind of just going over the highlights of some of these prospects that have signed. Again, here's Dejon Lee next. Appreciate it. But huge pickup for sure. Hey, Austin, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for being here, bro. Yeah, that game was absolutely ugly. There wasn't a lot of – it was hard to be positive after that game, right, when you only scored 3 points and you allow, 100 yards from the quarterback and the running back. Sometimes – and really all the time, you have to be honest about how the team is playing. And that's just the fact of the matter. The good news for Alabama last night in our second half of this show will be a college football playoff show. And we'll talk more about the playoffs. And one thing that we'll get into is the fact that Alabama is 3-1 against top 25 teams. And not a lot of teams can say that. So that's what put Alabama in the bracket, right, last night. And are they solidified there? It kind of looks like it. So you don't know where you're going to buy plane tickets to if you're going to a first-round matchup, but I would imagine South Bend, Columbus, maybe Georgia, maybe Texas. So a lot of football still left to be played, but Alabama, I think in their strength of schedule, really put them into the college football playoff bracket. Breaking down players that have signed with Alabama from the class of 2025, and you ask about the defensive 5 stars. Where are the defensive 5 stars? Well, here's one of them. All right, so you got a 5-star corner in Dejon Lee. Now, Alabama, what's interesting about this is I'll go real quick to before we look at Dejon Lee. What's interesting is while Coach Kalen DeBoer, I think we could kind of dial in on the prospects that he assigned from the Southeast area. Didn't really hit on Alabama in this recruiting class in terms of the top 10. But look at this California connection. Check this out. All these prospects are West Coast ties. And I think another reason is Courtney Morgan also has West Coast ties, right? But Dejon Lee, Mission Viejo, Jackson Lloyd, that needs to be updated to Jackson Lloyd. I have a misspelling on that California connection. Jackson Lloyd out of Carmel. Chuck McDonald out of Mater Dei, same high school as Bryce Young. Caleb Edwards out of Oak Ridge. Cavante Henry in Los Angeles. Lou Zinger. Abdul Sanders, Mater Dei as well. Getting 2 players out of Mater Dei, right? And did we determine how to say the punter's name? Alex Osbroff? Out of San Joaquin. So that's a hell of a Cali connection. Right? And I think Josh is saying that Ty Haywood, I think he's referring to Ty Haywood in terms of not signing today. And so I would imagine that Ty Haywood ends up signing with Michigan.
Yeah, I saw an article that said Haywood is probably not going to do early signing. So.
Yeah, and I think that's an indication that Alabama is not going to get him, which is fine. I think that is a blow because getting defensive linemen, getting offensive linemen is critical. I think skill position players, you can get skill position players. There's enough of those guys. Like, I'm not too worried about the running back who flipped today, Clarizio. But Haywood, yeah, that hurts, 100%. All right. Let's look at five-star corner Dejon Lee. So let's talk about him real quick. 6'3", he might be closer to 6'4". 187 pounds out of Mission Viejo. Really good area for football in California. He's the number 4 corner in the nation. According to Greg Biggins, Greg Biggins is someone I really respect out of the West Coast. He's an analyst. I've mentioned before I used to work with him in the same office, actually, and to see how big he is on the West Coast and his presence. If anybody's watching from California, you 1,000,000% know who Greg Biggins is, right? And that guy has connections. His analysis is fantastic. I saw him say that Dejon Lee rarely gets beat over the top. His size, his speed, he's very physical. He played linebacker before he was moved to the secondary. He's a very good athlete, 100-meter hurdles or 110 hurdles, 300-meter hurdles, right? So Dejon Lee is that guy. And I think when you look to Alabama's secondary, while they are young, and I can rattle off a couple guys that played as freshmen this year. Xavier Brown, who starts, which is amazing. Jalen Mbakwe, Carmel. I appreciate it. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Jalen Mbakwe, who sees playing time, right? Zay Mincy, he's not there yet, but Zay Mincy's 6'3" corner as well, or defensive back, whatever you want to put him at. You had Jalil Hurley leave. He wasn't going to get on the field. And I'm still curious to find out what happens with Damani Jackson. I don't know if Damani Jackson will stay or will go. I think the way that he's played as of late and the physicality that he showed as of late would lead me to believe that he tests his foot in the NFL draft. At least gets kind of, some feedback in terms of, what he wants to do, where he could go. I don't know. And that's a constant, question that I ask is, do you guys think that Damani Jackson will go to the NFL? Can you ask that, T, inside the comment box? It's a question I ask frequently, and I think it's worth asking, on a frequent basis because he's probably one of those players that's borderline. In steps Dejon Lee. And the point is, you lose somebody like Damani Jackson. Well, Xavier Brown's growing up. He's probably already playing like a sophomore. And then you have Jalen Mbakwe, who would imagine will be a guy that could be maybe the starter as well. I think Duke Johnson did already sign. We have a board, and I'll show you the guys that have signed. And how we know they've signed is Alabama Football, their official account, will tweet out their information. You're watching Dejon Lee right here on your screen. Keep in mind, he's 6'3", maybe 6'4". He's got obviously a long stride to him because of his size, right? There's a little pick six right here. And you'll see he's a very good open field tackler. And I think that's so important is these guys that can tackle out in space. Here he is, reads the ball really well. Pretty easy pick again. I mean, those are 2 easy interceptions. But again, you got to be in the right place to make those interceptions. Here he is, top of your screen, top left. Given cushion. Quarterback throws it. Bad pass by the quarterback, and he's able to become the receiver and another interception. So first thing I would check off is size, stride, ball hawk. Gives cushion again. Here comes the quarterback rolling out. Really good position again. So, I mean, from just this, he's just in the good position. And you look to Mission Viejo, where he's out of, California, very talented. A lot of high school football players. Here he is returning a kick. This is interesting. Let's see what he does here. Look at that stride that he has. because he was relatively close with those guys behind, but that long stride that he has, that's what kind of separates you. I like that clip a lot. And when you play special teams, that'll tell me a lot about you. Wade's World says we will have the best secondary next year if Damani stays. Doesn't allow a touchdown right there in the red zone. Here he is at safety, right? Playing off that wide receiver. See what he does. He gives a lot of cushion. And he just signed with Alabama. All right, so perfect timing. Here he is in man coverage, right? This is where I'm talking about the open field tackling. And he's very physical, right? All right, so next player we'll talk about is A.K. Deer. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube. We got T in the house. I appreciate you guys watching. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. It helps out the performance. What we're doing today is we're going over the prospects that are signed, and we have a board that we are updating frequently as the players do officially sign. The players officially sign first with the University of Alabama. University of Alabama, the official Twitter account, will tweet out that the player has officially signed, and then we put the logos next to the name indicating that the player has officially signed. We'll talk more about some defensive line players and some outside linebackers here in a second. Justin Glenn is asking if Dejon Lee did sign. Yes, he did sign with that. He just signed. Yeah. Andrew is asking what the current ranking of the class is. The site that I use, and I've mentioned this a bunch of times, is I just use On3 for the rankings. There's 3 different sites that have team rankings, and I'm currently seeing Alabama in second. And I'll bring this up real quick. Let's see. That's a good point out, and I'll keep updating this because the recruiting's kind of good. The recruiting rankings kind of go up and down, and they fluctuate throughout the day. But I think to start the day, Alabama was sitting at number 1, and then they lost commitment, Jace Clarizio, right? All right, I'll show this real quick. Zoom in on this, and again, this is On3. You can go to Rivals, you can go to 24/7. So it looks like Texas right now is at the number 1 spot. They have 3 5 stars. Alabama has 4. I would imagine, losing Ty Haywood at some point, will bump Alabama down in the rankings. So he hasn't officially flipped. And then again, we are also watching Derek Meadows, right? Derek Meadows at some point, we're expecting him to flip to Alabama. Brent is saying that Daryl Johnson. Do we get Daryl Johnson in? I think we got him in. We'll double check on that, Brent. I appreciate it. Wade's World also asking, Kyle, do you think that Jan Miller stays? Yeah, I do. And Cavante Henry has just signed. Bob's asking about Michael Carroll flip. I don't think so. I haven't seen anything of Michael Carroll flipping. And we just ran through his highlights. He's a beast. He's physical. He's nasty. I think he's just as important as Keelan Russell. So number 2 right now in the rankings on 3. All right, let's continue to work through our highlights. The next player, do you guys want to see, I guess, should we look at Cavante Henry or A.K. Deer? Who's that? Yeah, all right, let's go to Henry. I'll bring up Henry's. Look, okay, so it's important to work the junior college as well, right? The junior college ranks. So 2 guys coming in from the junior college ranks. And these are interesting stories because they kind of went here or there. Steve Mbua, don't really have the best highlights of him. We'll showcase his graphic and stuff like that. He was from, I believe, was it Cameroon? And then he went to Canada, right? So he was speaking French. Yeah, Quebec. And then he came to Alabama this year. So he signed in last year's class. I'm talking about Stephen Boyd, not Cavante Henry, who we're about to watch. brushed up on his English, and now he's going to re-enroll. He went to Southwest Mississippi Junior College. I didn't even know that place existed. And he'll be back. So we'll talk about him later.
To learn English, right?
Yeah, to learn English, I guess. It's interesting. All right, so you have Cavante Henry. All right. Cavante Henry just literally signed a few minutes ago. He's an edge. You can call him like a wolf, a bandit position. I mean, he'd have to add 20 pounds to become a bandit. But at that wolf position, you need depth and you need somebody to step in. So off the top of my head, you have Quay coming back. You have Yanze Pierre and you have Noah Carter, right? But, yo, Cavante Henry, this guy's very talented. And I do think he'll play wolf. He adds a lot of depth to it. And you need depth, right? Look, Keanu Coate is now in the transfer portal and Q Rob graduated. Let's look at his highlights. I'm very, very impressed with Cavante Henry. All right, we'll go full screen on this. He's got a lot of speed. I'll rewind that clip so you can see it at full screen. 6 foot. Keep in mind his size. All right, 6'4", 245. Look, gets off the football really quick. Gets in the backfield. Perfect for the wolf position. Keep him there. I don't even know if I want him at the bandit position. And remember, you have Quay. Here he is in coverage. I'm sorry. There he was off the edge. Again, another quarterback sack. My goodness, he's fast. All right. Hand in the dirt right now. Fights off tackles, able to get to the running back. You're looking at Cavante Henry, a junior college prospect. So he's going to have a little bit more experience. Going to be a little bit older, more physically developed. Ooh, I like this right here. Look at that woof. Ooh, look at that swim move. That speed. You know what? I might list him as number 3, as most exciting players, a part of this class. I get it. He is a JUCO guy, but I might go Keelan, Michael Carroll, and Cavante Henry. I'm serious. Like, this guy is bringing it. And I see a lot of comments inside the comment box about Ty Haywood. Yeah, it looks like he is going to flip to Michigan. He hasn't yet. I don't think he's going to sign today, so you won't know today. But he is predicted to flip to Michigan. Chuck McDonald is in as well.
And we did have Daryl Johnson. I don't know who.
All right, we got Daryl Johnson in as well. We'll show you the big board of the guys who have signed, but Chuck McDonald is in. I love this guy right off the ball. He's got an amazing swim move. He's got a lot of speed. He'll get to the quarterback. And that wolf position here at the University of Alabama is critical in this 4-2-5, the swarm, right? Here he is, wrecking havoc in the backfield. I love this guy. This is great film. 100%. I'm really excited about this guy. Man, he's fast. Redfish Talker, what's up, man? Angels bumped out about Kobe. How the show is going to work is we're breaking down the prospects that have signed with Alabama. And then our second half of the show, I know we usually start at 10 in the morning. We went early because, there's a lot of news to work with. It's signing day, bells and whistles, all that stuff. Jackson Lloyd is also in, all right? He's another player on the offensive line, all right? So we'll go back and look at the big board right now of players that have signed. So when you're looking at this graphic, the Alabama logos represent the players that have actually signed their paperwork. Okay. Derek Meadows isn't listed. Basically, Derek Meadows is listed at the bottom. You see where it says flip watches? That's where I left a space for him. I think Alabama's probably in play, too, for an Auburn corner. I don't know if he'll I think it's Starr, right? Donovan Starr. So a couple guys could join the class today. Remember, signing day is for the next couple of days as well. But so far I'm sorry? Abdul Sanders. Abdul Sanders is in. Another player from the state of California that is in. So the logos represent the players that have actually signed, right? Pretty much all of them. I mean, we still need the punter. We still need Caleb Edwards. A.K. Deere, right? And Michael Carroll. And for those of you asking about Ty Haywood, I'll mention it several times because he is a notable prospect, a 5-star. He will not sign today. And it looks like he is trending towards flipping to Michigan, right? You lost Jace Clarizio earlier this morning as he decided to stay. He's from East Lansing. That's where Michigan State is. So he committed to Michigan State. Alabama wanted another running back. You always need 2 running backs in a class. Yeah, Josh, Clarizio flipped again this morning. It's weird, I know. But look, everybody liked his highlight tape. He's good. But when he's going to play? If you're a running back right now, when are you going to touch the football? We're going to talk about A.K. Deere next. It's going to be hard to even jump him. A.K. is signing officially at 12, and he'll be the next player we talk about. All right. We'll go back and look at A.K. Deere's highlights. The punter's in. Alex Osbroff. Is that how we're going to say it? Sparoff. All right. So your punter's in. When you're looking at the punter rankings, he's like a 3-star. That's like as high as they rate special teams players. They don't give you're never going to get like a 5-star punter. The place to look at for rankings on special teams player is through the Coles Kicking Academy. That's like the only place that has rankings on special teams players. Kickers and punters, yeah. Coles, they like sponsor all the kicking stuff. But the highest you'll get from a special teams player is like a 3-star. So don't see it and be like, oh man, this guy sucks. That's not the case. Like Cole's Kicking Academy has the full rankings. It's really interesting. Obi-Wan Jafrobi asked, what is Ty Haywood decommitting due to our recruiting class? It takes it down. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you go 4 or 5, but losing a 5-star, yeah, it's going to hurt. I kind of zoom out and look at the entire class in the first year of Coach Kalen DeBoer. If you want to be an optimist, you can see that the first guy he signed is Keelan Russell, and that really shows you the direction of the recruiting class and the foundation that Coach Kalen DeBoer wants to build here. He's the number 1 player in the state of Texas, right? The number 1 quarterback in the nation. I think he might be number 2 on either Rivals or something like that, but I think he might be number 2 on 3. I have no idea, but I'm labeling him. I think it's like either 1 or 2. He's a consensus 5-star. The guy's a beast. All right, let's go full screen and look at A.K. Deere. 6 foot, 200 pounds out of Quinton, Mississippi. He's the number 2 player in the state of Mississippi, number 52 player in the nation. Flipped from Ole Miss to Bama. Power, next level speed. Will enter a crowded back room 100%. You look at the running back. I really feel that Jam Miller is going to come back. I do. I feel that Justice Haynes, he'll come back. Richard Young. I mean, it's a loaded running back room. It's a 3-headed monster already. Look at this guy. It looks like he was shot out of a cannon. So A.K. Deere, 200 pounds, number 1 running back in the state of Mississippi. Mississippi had some players this year for sure in their class of 2025. Hey, Hugh, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. A lot of work goes behind the scenes. T does an outstanding job as well. So I appreciate you being here. Thumbs up on the videos go a long way. A.K. Deere getting to the outside. In this offense, too, he played a little bit of Wildcat, so he's thrown a couple touchdowns. Think about this, what I'm about to say. This guy played these are his junior year highlights. This is like 2 years ago. Look at him. Splitting through the defense. You're never going to catch him. This was a lot of these guys that we're showing you today, they're their junior year highlights. Remember the old days where you used to stay for your senior year all the way through and graduate in May? That doesn't happen anymore. Robert, Kyle has him as a 4-star, not a 5. Is this A.K. Deere? Yeah, A.K. Deere, I usually go off the consensus board, and I think he's a 4-star. He might be listed as a 5-star. I mean, 200 pounds, 6 foot, I'm not worried about it. He showcased a lot, and I'm glad that he did flip from Ole Miss. I was curious to see if that would stick because he's another guy. Look at that first cut right there. Oof. Because he was committed to Ole Miss. And as you saw, Caleb Cunningham, he flipped to Ole Miss. So I was wondering if that could be the case as well.
I'm seeing AK pretty much everywhere. 4-star.
Really?
AK, yeah.
Do we have him as a 4-star?
I think so.
Yeah, right? I think we have him as a 4-star. Justin Hill, we'll talk about him next. Appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you very much for being here. Yeah, we just showcased AK Deer. I believe he's signing officially here, I think like at 12. I'll continue to show the big board. The big board is this. These are the players that have actually signed with the University of Alabama. The logo next to the name indicates that they have officially signed. If they haven't signed, we'll keep you posted when they do. A good way to follow this is go to the Alabama official account if you want to find out yourself. They post all the information first, and then we organize it on our independent YouTube channel. So that's how that works. So we're still waiting for Michael Carroll, which, take a deep breath. I haven't seen anything about him flipping or anything like that. AK Deer, right, your running back that we just highlighted, and Caleb Edwards, a tight end out of California. All right, very, very solid class. And I'll show this again as well, where Alabama sits in terms of their overall ranking. I think On3 has them currently at the number 2 spot behind Texas. And look, Texas, they're rolling. They have a lot of NIL. Steve Sarkisian, very attractive coach you want to play for, right? Young, dog mentality, used to work for Coach Saban, rebuilt himself. Texas, right? Austin, a lot of positive things about going to Texas. They're going to get theirs 100%. And they were ready to join the SEC. And here they are now with the chance to have a quarterfinal bye in the playoffs, right? Only we lost one game this season. But this is still impressive. I don't care where Alabama finishes. I mean, if they finish in the top 5, I'm still think it's outstanding. You know what's crazy? Look at Auburn. Despite what's happening at Auburn, they still have a top 5 recruiting class.
Well, because they have that money. The Yellowwood money.
Yeah, no, 100%. And when you do look to Auburn, we'll see if we can bring this up. You see that I think you can sort it over here. And we're looking at Auburn, so don't throw up. But I think you can sort it by players in Alabama. Let's just click on Jared Smith. And I think if you click, this is why I use On3's recruiting interface. It just makes more sense to me. See if you could see it by state. Do we have like the state ranking? Oh, here we go. Okay. So this is what I found interesting about, Hugh Freeze. Okay. So they have a top 5 recruiting class, and how I have it sorted on On3 right now is by the state of Alabama based on like their top 15 prospects. Okay. So right now, Naheem Oford is committed to Ohio State. I saw some late action that Naheem could flip to Auburn, which would be crazy considering, look at all these prospects that Auburn has from the state of Alabama. I feel it's important to win your home state. Right now, that's an area that Coach Kalen DeBoer, I feel, needs to do a better job in. But again, he has the number 2 overall, squad. You're right. Did Fagans? Yeah, it looks like Antoine Fagans officially signed. Here it is on the right. But look at all these guys. So, look, number 1, Ohio State. He could flip back. You seen this, T? Jared Smith, Antoine Fagans, Eric Winters, Derek Smith, Zion Grady, Alvin Henry. These are all in-state guys. Look, they have the top. I mean, you have to go. Where's the first guy? Oh, Micah DeBose is number 14. Wow. You got KJ Lacey to Texas. So that's the state of Alabama. Look at this. This is interesting. So Alabama has Mal Waldrip and Micah DeBose, and those are the only guys within the top 25. Wow. Isn't that interesting to look at? And look, Auburn has all these other guys. So I say this to basically just like in-state recruiting. I feel it matters. But But, the team rankings really showcases you where teams are at this point in time with the overall volume of the class. All right. So let's continue to look at a couple more highlights that we have planned out. And we'll look to someone I'm really excited about. We'll stay on the offensive side of the ball. And while Alabama is not getting Caleb Cunningham, right? This player you got to be excited about in terms of the wide receiver production. All right, so next up, we're talking about Latsier Brooks. All right, raise your hand if you have seen Latsier Brooks on ESPN. And by the way, T, what does the poll say? What are the chances that Keelan Russell starts as a true freshman?
The majority think it's a mid probability at 52%. So, yeah, it's a possibility.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, mid. All right, another tweet coming in.
Hayes.
Turbo Rogers has officially committed to Ohio State. We're like talking about the news as the news is happening, right? We were just talking about Turbo. So this player, look, you lost Caleb Cunningham as he flipped from Alabama. He's a 5-star wide receiver, big wide. I think he'll play immediately at Ole Miss. I think he honestly would have had a chance to play here. Latsier Brooks is a slot position wide receiver that has playmaking ability. I have no idea, the roster at wide receiver is deep. Okay, you lose Kobe, I would imagine you lose a couple other guys. But the overall depth is deep. Latsier Brooks brings excitement. And I would imagine that he is certainly excited to play with Keelan Russell. So 5'10", 185 out of New Jersey. He scored I don't know. He broke the touchdown record in New Jersey. I guess he picked Alabama over Penn State. Even Georgia offered him. So he was heavily coveted in terms of a wide receiver. Let's check out his highlights. I appreciate you guys being here. We got 822 on the stream. Hit the thumbs up. We really appreciate you guys being here. The second half of our program will be college football talk in regards to the playoffs, right? And we'll take some calls and we can go back and forth in terms of playoffs. And then if any major news happens, we'll be live as well. So we appreciate you guys. I might take a quick commercial as we've been streaming for a little bit, but let me get to the highlights of Latsier Brooks. In terms of playmaking ability, this guy has it. He's got speed. He's got a really good quarterback, actually. Hits him in stride, and he's like 15 yards behind the safety for a touchdown. So Latsier Brooks, this guy, I think he scored over 30 or 40 touchdowns this year. Look at this play, T. Here he is. Shadow of their own end zone. Waits for the ball. Comes back to the ball. Makes the defender miss. And look at that. Speed to burn. You know how many points that would have been on fantasy football? That would have been a lot. All right? Been like 30 points. Here he is on the outside, so he can play a variety of positions at the wide receiver spot. He's not the biggest wide receiver, but him kind of after the catch is where I'm excited about him. And Coach Saban always said when recruiting your wide receivers is you want them to kind of be like a basketball team. You want your slots to be like your guards, your point guards, and then you want your bigger wide receivers. We're going to talk about Marshall Pritchett, another wide receiver that wide receiver / tight end that Alabama has. I kind of like him at receiver, but talking about that was the play. That play right there, that play was on ESPN. We'll talk, and this is the next guy we're talking about. No, Latsier Brooks is that guy. So we'll talk about Pritchett next. You probably don't even know about this guy. You're going to be excited. 6'5". I like this guy as a wide receiver. He's listed as tight end. Actually, on his X handle, Twitter, he lists himself as 6'6". And, I've been waiting for a long time. Let me ask you inside the comment box, who was the last, true playmaking tight end that Alabama had? Can you add that, T? Who was the last playmaking tight end that Alabama had? OJ was I think he was a year before me, OJ Howard. I think of Irv Smith. We've had tight ends come here that I thought were going to be that playmaking tight end. See, people saying, OJ, that was a little bit before me. I think I got here right after him. And we've had guys who I thought were going to be that guy. Like, I thought Black would be that guy. I thought Billingsley. Oh, my goodness. I waited for Billingsley like the Great Pumpkin. I waited and waited and waited and waited, and nothing happened. It was terrible. This year, you don't really have like an absolute playmaking tight end. I mean, I guess you could argue a little bit Josh Cuevas. He's nice, right? Oh, Cam Latu. You know what's crazy about Cam Latu is he played outside linebacker and then transferred or then, flipped to tight end. But what was crazy is his junior year, he caught 8 touchdowns, which was a record for the tight end. But then his senior year, he kind of went backwards. And then the Niners drafted him, and that wasn't it. So I don't know. Caleb Edwards is another guy I'm excited about here on the left. He's a 4-star. CJ Dupree is more of like your possession tight end. Kind of like a true tight end, I guess. Fran, what's up, man? Good morning, Javion. I appreciate you guys being here. Let's go look at some more tape, and we'll continue to roll through these prospects. And when more guys are signed, we'll bring that information to you. Still waiting on Michael Carroll, A.K. Deere, Caleb Edwards, and I guess, Derek Meadows, right? I mean, all right. So as I was mentioning, I bring up the tight ends. This next guy right here, Marshall Pritchett. I think he was committed to North Carolina. He decommitted from North Carolina, and then he committed to Alabama. You can call it a flip if you want to. 6'6", 220. I think he's 6'6". That's what he lists himself. He's out of Georgia. Number 21 tight end in the USA. He flipped from North Carolina. So let's go inside the tape. He's fast, this guy. He's super athletic. He's not like your blocking type tight end. I think the next kind of like Robbie Oots type guy will be Jay Lindsey, who is already on the roster. But Pritchett is someone to get excited about. You probably don't know about this guy yet, but just wait. Here he is on the outside. Catches it, makes a man miss. Another man miss, gets in the end zone. Light work. All right. Keep in mind when you're watching these highlights, keep in mind his size. He looks like a basketball player out here. Here he is, sits in zone. He's got speed. I'm telling you. Throws that dude to the ground, makes a man miss. Yo, that was nice. Not going to lie. Here he is on the inside. A little out and up. Catches it, turns it upfield. You know he's going to throw this dude to the ground. Called it. And then he's going to get into the end zone. So he's huge. This is one of my favorite plays right here. Look at this. This is the type of player I want on Alabama's team. Oh, I don't know if it's this one. Oh, I'll take this too. I don't like the razzle-dazzle, but look, give it a playmaker. I think there's a play where he just jumps up and he almost like touches the goalpost and he catches it. But I want like a mismatch wide receiver, like a 6'5" type guy. It's been a while since Alabama's had like a 6'5", 6'6" wide receiver that can just absolutely dominate. That's true. Right? You always have like a 6'1", 6'2" guy. Here he is. This is what I want right here. Like a guy that you could just throw it up and it's just like, nope, you have no chance.
How tall is Ryan?
Ryan, I think Ryan Williams was like what, 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah. He seems taller.
Yeah, that was a hell of a catch right here at the Saints Stadium. Talking about Marshall Pritchett. Jay Diggs, dude, you are so right, man. We have hyped up these tight ends again and again and again. I thought Black would be it. I thought, like I said, I thought Billingsley would be it. Jay Kish, no update right now on Derek Meadows. We will keep you posted if that news happens. See, that's a hell of a catch there in the back. So this is those were Marshall Pritchett. He's a guy that's pretty underrated in this class. You don't know about him just yet, but hopefully his name gets on the map. Here's a look at where we are in terms of our big board, guys that have signed with Alabama. And this will happen throughout the duration of the day. You'll hear from Coach Kalen DeBoer at 4 p.m. Central Time. And once that press conference has gone live, we'll put it here on Bama Football on YouTube. We'll break it down. Curious to say what he says about this first signing class. It's a great signing class. I still have it. There hasn't been a lot of movement, but I still have them as the number 2 team on 3. TBG says Ryan is 6'1". All right. I appreciate that. Thanks, man. And the other thing, too, was if you're joining us late, when Keelan Russell was signing this morning, it was Ryan Williams who jumped on his live stream, right? Really cool. I think I wanted to show one more highlight before we start to navigate to our second half of the show. Look, and as news happens, we'll bring it in. I'm going to start to talk college football playoffs here in just a second as we kind of get all the names in the class. And again, if news happens, we will cover it. But one of the players that we didn't talk about yet was Ivan Taylor. Has Ivan Taylor signed?
Yes.
All right. He's on our board. Okay. Yeah, Blake, and it looks like Ty Haywood will eventually flip to Michigan. We don't know when this will happen at some point, so we didn't even put a graphic on him on the board because it looks like it's pretty much a done deal with him going to Michigan. Just kind of waiting on that information. But I don't think he's signing today either. You have Ivan Taylor. So Ivan Taylor originally committed to Notre Dame, and then he flipped to Michigan, and then he flipped to Alabama. I get it. Michael Carroll is out of the IMG Academy, so it's in Florida, Bradenton, right? So you could list him as a Florida prospect, but he's from Pennsylvania. So I kind of still look at him as being from PA. Ivan Taylor is the only prospect, like true guy, that Coach Kalen DeBoer has added from Florida. Don't you think that's interesting as well? So two things that really stand out to me about this recruiting class. And I'm not saying in a negative way. I'm an analytical person. I look like some stats jump out to me. And the one thing that stands out to me is that Alabama only has 2 players from the state of Alabama within the top 25, right? Micah DeBose and Ma Waldrop. The other fact is that they only have 1 player from the state of Florida. Like I said, I don't count Michael Carroll because he's from the IMG somewhere else. I just think that's interesting because Coach Saban won his backyard and he took care of the state of Florida. Now, with that said, you have 6 guys that are being signed from California to come to Alabama. And I'm curious to see how those players kind of fit into living in Alabama, right? Can you imagine living in California and then moving to Alabama? But think about it. They already have, like, Damani's doing fine. Xavier Brown's doing fine. You have California guys here, right? Bryce is fine. He moved think about moving from Orange County to Tuscaloosa for 3 years. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a culture shock.
Yeah, it's a culture shock. He's fine. And now he's in Charlotte. All right. Okay. Let's run the tape. You're talking Ivan Taylor, a 4-star safety out of Florida that signed with the Alabama Crimson Tide. And Alabama's looking good now at safety with the immersion of Bray Hubbard. Man, Bray Hubbard. Oh, and this is the son of former NFL player Ike Taylor. We continue to see, the genetics plays a huge role in this. The pops played in the NFL. You see the son play in the NFL. So I really like this guy's open field tackling ability. We'll see his highlights in just a second. Let me fast forward. Here we go. This is all interior production. So we run all the producing from here, from the graphics, from the videos. We appreciate your guys' support on the YouTube channel. Here he is at safety. He's got the orange top helmets, kind of look like Florida. Looks like he came down with the interception right there. Looks like this is some sort of scrimmage. He's playing corner on the outside. So he's able to tip the ball away. That was really good coverage. And I like a defensive back that can play both corner, that can play star, that can play safety. I think, look, this is big to say, but you're going to have to replace a star position player, safety type player like Malachi Moore, right? And Malachi Moore is moving on. And I'm not saying he's exactly going to be the next, Malachi Moore by any means. I'm just saying him coming in is a versatile secondary player. Oh, yeah. So when Obi-Wan is like, just think about Tua coming in from Hawaii to Alabama. Oh, yeah, great point out. Here he is, high point in the football in the back end. Or think about Kyle coming from New Mexico to Alabama. All right, here he is at the safety spot up top. Good open field tackler. Man, he just put the hit on that dude. And one thing that I really liked about Alabama's defense in this last game, this was out of all the games this season, Alabama was the most physical against Auburn. Most physical against Auburn. Their secondary was hitting. And that's the physicality you want. The teams that hit hard this year were Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and then finally Alabama in the back end. And I saw someone talking Justice Terry inside the comment box. What's up, T?
Wade's World comment.
What did he say?
You're talking about hitting hard. He goes, Dre Kirkpatrick, too.
Yeah. So Justice Terry, it looks like he's going to Georgia. But this is Ivan Taylor who you're watching. Highlights of. Damn, he just knocked the ball. This guy he doesn't look like a physically imposing dude by any means, but he's really physical on the football field. Here he is with the fire circle. Okay, breaks up that pass. So anyways, you're getting a secondary player that comes in. I have no idea who starts in the secondary. I mean, we could probably list it right now, thinking about who starts in the secondary. I think Xavier Brown, let's just say that Damani Jackson comes back. All right, let's just say Damani Jackson comes back. Is Devontae Smith a senior or a junior? Can he come back? Because he could. So let's say, okay, let's find that out real quick. So Xavier Brown will be a sophomore. Damani Jackson will come back. All right, T's looking it up real quick. Just thinking about the Alabama secondary real fast. Here's our big board of the players that have officially signed. The logo means that we have their paperwork in, or the university does. Okay, so Devontae Smith can come back, okay? So let's just say you have Xavier Brown, sophomore, Damani Jackson, senior, Devontae Smith, senior at that Husky position. Your safeties would be Bray Hubbard and Keon Sabb, right? Yep. That's your secondary. And then if Damani Jackson leaves, then you have Jalen Mbakwe. Or maybe you take a junior college guy, or not a junior college, a transfer guy at the corner position, kind of like a vet, right? So either way you spend, or you see how Dejon Lee plays as a true freshman. I personally don't, out of all the positions in football, I don't like to start a true freshman at the corner position. It's the hardest position to play in football. You're going against crazy talent. That's why it's amazing that Xavier Brown has battled. And did he get cooked last game? Yeah, he got cooked, but he also came back with the interception. He has battled. He's the freshman of the year on defense 100%. And poor Smitty, man, after getting jumped by Auburn, that's still weird, right?
Negative Recon is saying that Ty Haywood reposted Keelan signing. I don't know if it means anything.
Huh. Wow. Yeah,
that's
okay. So
that's
say it again, T.
So Negative Recon just asked if we think that Ty Haywood's Insta story means anything. Apparently, he reposted Keelan Russell's signing. So I think that's a good sign.
Huh. Yeah, maybe we'll do a social media
Yeah, I'll
scour
go look
and,
for
and
it.
see what's out there. Maybe he's just, saying, he's happy about it. I have no idea. But, no word on Ty Haywood, and still waiting on Michael Carroll. I don't even know when Michael Carroll is set to. Has anybody that follows the recruiting sites, has anybody seen us in terms of Michael Carroll signing? What's that? I haven't seen a time for Michael Carroll.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
All right. So as soon as Michael Carroll signs, let's see. I think he should have already had, since he's at I know what's happening. The holdup is that Michael Carroll being at IMG, the signing ceremony was probably this morning, but think about how many people from IMG are signing. There's probably like 50. So his signing day ceremony is probably taking forever, right? Colby Whitehead is asking, does Devontae Smith have any more eligibility? Yes, he is a junior, so he can come back. All right. So let's take a pause right here and real quick, let's look at Alabama's roster real fast. And you can kind of guess, and we'll add, we'll work on this kind of over the week, or maybe we'll work on it today if we can. We'll see how it turns out. But based on the players that are coming in, we'll show you that the players that are going out, or at least the roster up to this point in time. Does that sound good? So what we'll do here is we'll showcase you the roster, and you can right now, T, one thing that we can do is we can look, I'm going to show the roster, like the players, the snap counts, and then start to kind of update it for next year, right? So like the quarterback position on this next graphic, you'll take out Jalen Milroe and just slide in Keelan Russell. Does that make sense? So here's what the Alabama quarterback room looks like. And again, if any breaking news happens, Derek Meadows, signs, or Ty Haywood officially flips, we'll keep you posted. What we're doing right now, we're looking at position by position. The second half of the show will be college football playoff talk. And I will take your calls, and we can go and talk about the playoffs. I want to hear from you. It looks like Alabama has solidified their spot in the playoffs. That's what it looks like. All right. So the quarterback position. You're probably well-versed in this. And when you're looking at this as well, add a year onto these players, because this is right now. So, for example, when you're looking at Ty Simpson, put him as a redshirt junior. That's what he will be next year. Okay? Dylan Lonergan, redshirt sophomore, so forth. Right? And then true freshman, Keelan Russell. Here's a look at the Alabama running back room. Okay? Now, these stats are not updated. We have to update these stats. We will update the stats soon. But just kind of what we're doing right now is looking at the overall depth chart and add in A.K. Deer. Where else are you going to add another player? You didn't take in Jace Calarizio. Maybe he looked at this graphic. Look. Do you guys think inside the comment box that Jam Miller comes back? Yes or no? T, what do you think on Jam?
I think he leaves. I don't think he's getting enough playing time.
I don't think so. I think he comes back. And I think he comes back. I think he, with a new quarterback, we don't have. I don't think I've said this before. Maybe somebody else has said it. I don't know. I don't think we're still seeing Kalen DeBoer's true offense because of the quarterback that he has. I think when you get a different quarterback in, you'll see a completely different offense. Like, you can't take off Milroe because you don't know what he's going to do. 350 and 4 touchdowns. But next year with a different quarterback that doesn't have Jalen Milroe's athletic ability, you're going to see more distribution between your running backs, your receivers. You get what I'm saying? I don't think he comes. I think Jam Miller comes back. So look at the running back room. Add in A.K. Deer, that's crowded. Will one guy transfer? I don't know if they're going to transfer. A lot of people are saying, that would hurt. That would hurt. But look, You know what will hurt? Justice Haynes or Richard Young if either of those guys transfer. That will really hurt. Because I think each of those guys is capable to be the absolute man. Similar to how, like, I think Richard Young, and I've said this openly before, I think he might be better than Dylan Sampson at Tennessee, which is like, that might be a crazy take, but Richard Young's a monster. And look, I think he got a couple of carries last. Maybe he didn't. But to see that he has less than 50 snaps on the year is crazy. All right. Here is the tight end room. So you're going to be losing C.J. Dupree. You're going to be losing Robbie Oots, right? What happened to Danny Lewis? I think I've seen him a couple times, but man, Danny Lewis, haven't really seen him. You know, the star, this guy is emerging right here. Josh Cuevas, one-handed catch. This guy's it, right? Jay Lindsey, he'll be kind of the new Robbie Oots. This guy's big. He's like 250. Ty Lockwood. Add in Caleb Edwards. Add in Marshall Pritchett, I guess. Josh Cuevas could have a monster year next year. I have no idea how the offense is going to work, but I do like him. And then Danny Lewis, kind of forgot about him, to be honest. And look, this was before, this is not updated, but this kind of gives you an indication of how the wide receivers were used before Auburn. So the next wide receiver after Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard, you can see the lack of production. I mean, Kobe Prentice didn't record a catch against Auburn. I don't think Kendrick Law did as well. So those guys only having 11-10. That's why we assume that, more guys hit the transfer portal from the wide receiver position. No intel on that, just kind of the way that it works. When you look at it on paper, you could see maybe that's why that would be a possibility. Caleb Odom, I don't think that he's going to transfer. I don't. I think Alabama has tried to get him involved a little bit more, had him as a starter. Caleb Odom has to understand, too, that Keelan Russell's coming in. And Ty Simpson distributes the football a lot to Caleb Odom. So I thought at one point Caleb Odom would be on the transfer watch list. I don't feel that way anymore. Here's a look at the Alabama receiver room. It doesn't have Amari Jefferson. It doesn't have Jaron Hamilton. It doesn't have Jalen Hell. Doesn't have any of those guys that I just mentioned. And look how stacked it is. Did we already mention that Jeremy Bernard is going to – did we say he's going to go to the NFL? I don't know if Jeremy Bernard is going to go to the NFL. Is he a first-round guy? He played like a first-round talent against not a first-round talent, but he played, first, second-round, third-round type guy against Auburn. I don't know if he's a first-round guy. Jeremy Bernard and Damani Jackson, I have no idea about. Ryan Williams, he's coming back. Kobe, transfer portal. Kendrick Law, we don't know. Emmanuel Henderson, we don't know. Not utilized this year. Only has 4 receptions. Caleb Odom has 7. Rico Scott caught a touchdown. Cole Adams was injured. Not mentioned on this graphic. Jaron Hamilton, Jalen Hell, and Amari Jefferson. And think about the wide receivers coming in, right? Latsier Brooks. Maybe Marshall Pritchett, depending on what position he plays. I don't know. Hey, Johnny, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. I appreciate it. Hey, Kyle. So if Georgia wins and SMU loses, do you think Alabama slides into the playoffs? Well, I don't think Alabama's going anywhere in the playoffs. And my second half of my show this morning will be about college football playoffs. I think that regardless of what happens, Alabama has already made their case. The best thing is for Alabama, they don't play another game. Their strength of schedule was really difficult. They won 3 games against top 25 competition. That is part of the college football principles, and that's it. Jay Diggs asks, Kyle, what do you think? It's possible Jalen comes back. I don't know, bro. It's a bigger possibility than most people think about. I think that he's gone. I think that he goes to the NFL. His draft grade is still going to be high. Quarterback. The NFL needs quarterbacks. He'll shine at the NFL Combine. His personality is electric. He's a leader. He has playmaking ability. I think he gets in the NFL. You know, I don't know where he goes. I could see him ending up with the Giants, maybe the Raiders. With his skill set, he might cook in the NFL. Now, he's going to have to understand, you know, you can't just go to one wide receiver. But I don't know. Aaron Rodgers throws to Devontae Adams like 15 times a game. See how we looking? Well, all right. Here's the Alabama offensive line for next year. See, you think any people leave from the Alabama offensive line on this graphic? And again, there's more people that are not showed on this graphic. Like you got Seth McVay, you got Geno Vandermark.
Yeah, I could see us losing some for sure.
You think Elijah Pritchard will welcome Formby leave?
I hope so.
No, but see, while you might want to hope that some of these guys leave, they might just not be developed yet. I would suspect, and I've said this before, that I think Alabama needs to go in the transfer portal for a tackle. Because you got Michael Carroll coming in at guard. Just hear me out. Him coming in at guard. Look, all these guys can return. Like Tyler Booker's gone. But maybe you slide Jaden Roberts over to the left tackle and you put Michael Carroll in at right tackle. So all you really, at right guard. So all you need is a right tackle. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It'd be nice to have some depth there, though. We just got Caleb Edwards.
The internet is shutting down over. Oh. I just got a text. I hope it's like nothing.
Did you hear me? Caleb Edwards.
Oh, yeah. Caleb Edwards is in?
Yep.
Caleb Edwards is a tight end out of California that just signed. All right. Here's a look at the Alabama defensive line. Again, Jaheim Otis transfer. What we're doing right now is kind of looking at roster management. If there's news that comes in terms of guys that have signed, guys like breaking news, we're watching Derek Meadows or watching Ty Haywood. No intel on when those guys will sign or if they'll flip. I would imagine that Ty Haywood flips, right? So that's just something we're waiting on, probably from Hayes Fawcett. So if you want like the absolute like news when it happens, Hayes Fawcett is a perfect guy to check out. Obi-Wan, yeah, Caden Proctor, he's not eligible for the draft yet, so he's coming back 1,000,000%, so he'll be your left tackle again. Here's a look at the Alabama defensive line. As you can see, there's a lot of guys from Alabama that you can see that can return. Oh, my buddy just texted me. He's like, the internet shutting down because of Alabama making the playoffs. Like, people are absolutely pissed because, but I've been telling people for a long time, like, people are so surprised before the playoffs. I was like, they're going to make it 100%. Like, 100%, they're going to make it. Because of the strength of the schedule that they played. And the fact of the matter is, you don't know if this team can win the championship game. Nobody wants to play them in the first round, and they drive massive TV ratings. And I know that you're like, oh, they can't. Yeah, well, that's it. They're better than the rest of those teams. And those other teams lost to unranked teams too. What's that?
Carroll just signed.
Oh, Michael Carroll. Oh, okay. Hit the parade music. All right. Michael Carroll has just signed. Let me go back to Michael Carroll real quick because this is really big. As I mentioned, the most important piece other than Keelan Russell is this young man. So Michael Carroll has just officially signed with the Crimson Tide. This is massive. I showed his highlight tapes a little while ago. Big, nasty, imposing. Pops played at Penn State. Mom played at basketball at Michigan State. This is a cornerstone piece for your Alabama offensive line. I would have loved to have Ty Haywood come in here as well. I think, honestly, I think that two freshmen could have probably started at the offensive line this coming 2025 season. Put Ty Haywood at that right tackle. That's how impactful this is. I don't think that Jackson Lloyd, now while he's a tackle, I don't know if he can start right away. That might be, we're going to have a battle at right tackle. I want a transfer to come in at right tackle as well, but Michael Carroll should be capable to pick up a starting guard position for Alabama in 2025 with the departure of Tyler Booker. So either you have Michael Carroll at left guard or you have him at right guard, and then you put Jaden Roberts at right or left, right? But this is huge. Like, this is just as big as Keelan Russell, right? So getting this guy in, absolutely fantastic. Another 5-star offensive lineman. Defensive lineman, offensive lineman, quarterback, that is a really hard position to recruit. And LJ, you bring up an interesting point. You kind of wonder, with the size that he has, could you maybe start to work him at the tackle position? Remember, I'll never forget this. When Evan Neal came in from the IMG Academy, he's bigger than Michael Carroll. He was like 6'7", 370 or something like that. He actually played guard his freshman year for Alabama and then swapped out to tackle. That shows you the type of athleticism that he had at that point in time. Now, his NFL career, I don't really know too much about that. I think he's kind of trended the opposite way. But while he was at Alabama, is absolutely the monster, like absolutely the man. So maybe he does work at tackle, which would be great because then you just, I guess you need to figure out who can play guard then, right? Could Geno Vandermark maybe do it? But Carroll is in, and we'll go to the big board in just a second. T, do you have the big board updated? Yes. All right. Okay, so, wow, that looks good. So the logos represent if the player has officially signed. We still don't have paperwork from AK? All right. I wouldn't freak out about that. It's just probably like, when Alabama football gets the information from AK, we'll put it on.
I think they said 12.
Yeah, okay. So we got a little bit of time. And then on the bottom right, it says flip watches. I basically just have that spot for Derek Meadows. That's what I have it for. So I don't know when. Casey Poe. Thanks for mentioning that, Mitch. Forget about him. I have that spot on the bottom right for Derek Meadows. I have no idea when he'll sign, at what point in time. That'll be one of the biggest pieces of news from signing day, 100%. He's in terms of like who is Derek Meadows and what he brings to the table. Well, he is a 6'6" wide receiver out of Nevada. You've heard of Bishop Gorman before. He's predicted to flip from LSU to Bama. The catalyst to that was Bryce Underwood flipping from LSU to Michigan for $12 million over 4 years. And then we're also watching Ty Haywood on the right to flip from Bama to Michigan. And that's part of that Bryce Underwood kind of shakeup. Wade's World talking about Jalen Hell. Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hell, man, him, Ryan Williams, Jaron Hamilton, Caleb Odom, Lazier Brooks, Rico Scott, Amari Jefferson. Yomir inside the comment box. Yeah, we hit on that just a second ago. It was interesting that Ty Haywood just reposted Keelan Russell's signing emoji. Maybe you keep him. I don't know. I think if you keep him, you might finish number 2 in the recruiting rankings. I don't know. Right? You finished number 2 behind Texas or whatever.
For Bama.
Yeah, they're factoring him in already. Good point out. But did they take off Chase Colorizio?
Yeah, I think they did.
All right. Well, we'll look at the rankings right now, and then we'll continue with some roster management. And then the second half of the show, we'll go to college football playoff talk. DeBoer at the podium at 4 p.m. Texas right now sitting at the number 1 spot. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Auburn, Oregon, Michigan, Texas A&M, LSU, Tennessee, and there's Miami once again, just outside the playoffs. I'm just kidding. These are pretty much the teams that are close in the playoff hunt, right? Penn State's there, Notre Dame's in, Miami's out, Tennessee's in. Maybe not so much. Oregon's in. That's the crazy thing is Auburn has such this incredible recruiting class, but they can't win games. And Ryan Day can get you a top 5 recruiting class or a top 2, but he can't win big games either. That's wild. What's that?
Darian saying that Ivan Taylor used you in his Instagram video.
No way.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah. That's cool. That's what's up. Appreciate that. That kid's physical. Pops played in the league. I didn't know he was that physical at the safety position.
His dad's Ike.
Yeah, his dad is Ike Taylor. Anytime, like that just sounds like a mean name, Ike. And Ivan doesn't fall far from the tree. So getting him as a commitment from state of Florida, definitely big. All right. Show the big board one more time. And we might take a little pause, and then we'll kind of morph into college football talk. Let me ask you inside the comment box. I'm going to take like just a 2-minute break, and then I'll start talking about the college football playoffs. And then as news happens, we'll come back to recruiting, right? We'll just do a quick segue, and I'll take some calls as well. Well, I take this 1-minute break, and I appreciate we got 1,019 on. I'll be right back in like 2 minutes. Can you list your top 3 prospects that you're most excited to see in this class? The top 3 prospects that you're excited to see in this class. All right, sound off inside the comment box. I'll be right back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right, fam, back. Appreciate you guys being patient. What are some people saying, T, in terms of the people they're excited to see?
Let's see. So, Porch Talk is saying Dijon Lee, Latsier Brooks, Keelan Russell, Carroll Deere, Russell Carroll Brooks, Carroll Russell, and Daryl Johnson. Yeah, a lot of people excited about Carroll and Russell for sure.
Yeah, I think it's Michael Carroll, Keelan Russell, and then I'm going to go with
and AK Deere.
I'm going to go with Cavante Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're just waiting on an AK Deere. There's nothing to worry about there. I don't think it's going to be like a late flip or anything like that. I think we're just waiting on the paperwork. But everybody here with the logo next to their name is signed, like officially. And if you guys see anything out there that happens, breaking news or something like that, Jeff is saying AK Deere is going to Auburn. I haven't seen that. That would be crazy if that happened, because then Alabama doesn't get running back. But I haven't seen that. So, Jeff, where did you see that, man? You're going to make me freak out. All right, I'm gonna move. And again, as I move the show to the next point, which will be college football talk, we will start to talk about the college football playoff bracket. T. All right, yeah. I know, Jeff. Can you check Alabama's football Twitter for just the AK Deer? All right. So last night, Alabama football, and as we mentioned, if news breaks recruiting wise, we'll come right back to it and we'll talk about the news as it happens. We'll even go back and continue to look at the roster management. But I wanted to talk for a few minutes about the college football playoff and spend a little bit of time there. And I will open up the phone lines and take some calls regarding the college football playoffs. And I think a good place to start is the fact that Coach Kalen DeBoer brought up some really good points yesterday on SEC in the morning, kind of leading into the college football playoff rankings, right? So, and yes, Michael Carroll did sign 100%. And if you have a question inside the comment box, you can post it and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But Coach Kalen DeBoer, and I had been very optimistic about Alabama making the college football playoffs. I felt that they would be in the bracket. Now, staying in the bracket, I was kind of unsure about because we still have to figure out what is going to happen with the ACC championship game. But this is what Coach Kalen DeBoer had to say on Tuesday morning. He said, the wins we have and the week-to-week schedule we play in the SEC, I think that's undeniable of what it all is. DeBoer told SEC in the morning, basically saying that the strength of the schedule matters 100%. Lacks. Michael Carroll already signed. He's in. He is good to go. Right? He's saying that the strength of the schedule, and then kind of compounded on that was the fact that you had Greg Byrne, Alabama's athletic director, kind of chime in before this with kind of jumping from the top rope, if you want to call it, and saying, look, when you look at the college football principles, right, of its selection committee, the first bullet point on the list is a consideration of strength of schedule. Not all schedules and conferences are created equal. And that's the biggest thing, is the Big 12 is not equal to the SEC. The ACC is not equal to the SEC. Same thing with the group of fives. That's the hardest thing about making these playoffs out of 12 teams, is you're really not going to get the best 12 teams in the playoffs any year in this format. And the best option to go by might be the old BCS, because this puts like the 12 best teams based on this computer formula in the bracket, and then you seed them from there. I don't know. But like Mario Cristobal, this is all he said. And I think it's a rather weak argument. Miami head football coach Cristobal said, Miami winning 10 games is stronger than teams winning 9 games. No, that's not. Like, the core principle of the rankings, and I'm glad it's in there, is the strength of schedule. Because I say this plenty of times, there is no way that Miami could have survived in the SEC. Let me get to the playoff bracket, okay? And then for those people out there saying that South Carolina somehow should be above Alabama, no. Like, they played head-to-head. The two teams settled it on the field for the playoffs. And I saw Jackson Dart for Ole Miss. T, you got something?
So Negative Recon saying that they're saying that because AK was wearing Auburn clothes on Instagram yesterday. Oh.
It could be one of these things to where, there's always some sort of signing day. Like, you put a shirt on and then you rip it off and it's Alabama. Remember when the craziest one was when Drake Kirkpatrick, was it Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. last year? Remember, because his dad played here. Uh-huh. And he took off his shirt. Yeah. Or he took off his jacket, and I think it was an Auburn. Yeah. Was it Auburn or Georgia?
It was, I remember him doing it. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, and he took it off, and his dad and Drake Kirkpatrick Sr., like stormed off. and then Dre Kirkpatrick ripped off his shirt and it was Alabama. Here's the college football playoff bracket. All right. And this was posted last night. So these are the official bracket readings. Now, it's complicated. The way that they have done this has been really complicated because they rank the teams on the right and then they seed them into the bracket. Right. This is not the official bracket. Like, Alabama is not packing its bags to play in South Bend. I think there's a great probability that this happens. But we're watching the ACC championship game, and that will affect the playoff bracket. But from hearing from, the College Football Playoff Committee yesterday, after the bracket was released, he said that it's unlikely. He didn't directly say it. This is Ward Manuel saying that Alabama isn't going to go behind SMU even if SMU was to lose, which means that Alabama's pretty much in the playoffs without saying that they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you just look. And yes, Michael, if you're getting to the show, and if you have questions on anybody that signed, because we're talking college football playoffs right now. What's up, Luke? Luke is saying if SMU loses, Alabama's out. I don't think so, man. It didn't seem like, by listening to the playoff committee last night, it didn't seem that way.
Yeah, it sounded like we were kind of locked in.
Yeah, and I think what they'll do is they'll base the fact that SMU had a strength of schedule of 77 compared to Alabama's, 17, and base it on the fact that Alabama has 3 wins over top 25 teams where SMU only has 2, right? Now, if SMU wins, then Alabama is automatically in, but I think that, I think Alabama's in the playoffs. And I was 100% confident that they're in. Even going forward. Brooke Phillips is like, Russell signed earlier this morning. Thank you, baby Jesus. Darian is saying Alabama is a lock. Ooh, I like that emoji. Nice usage right there.
Apparently there's a Roll Tide stone in store in Jerusalem. Wow.
Is there really?
That's what Hot Wheels chaplain is saying.
Can we look that up?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. If you guys want to call in, now's a good time. I'll put the call line on the screen. Again, if there's any breaking news, I'll talk to you politely, or I'll just hang up on you. Just kidding. And I will go to the breaking news. But right now, Alabama's recruiting class pretty much coming together as we thought it would. The main updates, okay? Maybe, we could get a graphic that says this, because these are the biggest questions. Okay. Did Michael Carroll sign?
Okay.
Has A.K. Deer signed? Has Derek Meadows signed? And has Ty Haywood flipped?
Okay.
And maybe you just put it together like that, just with the yes or no answers. That way we could just...
Deer, Haywood, and Derek Meadows.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Michael Carroll, Derek Meadows, Ty Haywood,
A.K. Deer.
And A.K. Deer. And then if you could put that graphic right behind this playoff graphic, that way I could just kind of slide back and forth. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. Max, what's up, man? I appreciate you. Yeah, we got 1,000 people up in here. We appreciate you guys being here. Indiana should be out, and South Carolina should be in over them. If you really want to, think about it. I mean, if you're really going off a strength of schedule component, South Carolina played one hell of a schedule. They played a tougher schedule than Alabama, went 3-3 in top 25 games. Look, Georgia is loving the fact that they're in this make-believe bracket that they would be playing Indiana. Georgia would be freaking out if they were hosting South Carolina. Georgia just barely beat Georgia Tech. And look, Georgia, I list them as a strong contender. But nobody wants smoke with South Carolina. Kind of the same thing why nobody wants Alabama in the playoffs. These teams are capable of beating everybody. If Notre Dame was preparing for South Carolina, they'd be stressing out too. South Carolina is a good football team. The reason they didn't make the playoffs is because Alabama beat them head-to-head, plain and simple. All right, first caller, we got Angel out in Pigeon Forge. So we'll take calls. As news happens, we'll go to it. We have a graphic that is being built right now with just your general most frequently asked questions of the day. This is our signing day show. This is also our, college football playoff show. So we'll go back and forth. First caller up is Angel from Tennessee, Pigeon Forge. Angel, what's up, man? Welcome on into the show. I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, to people who are mad about Alabama being in, look, Alabama has to head-to-head with South Carolina. That should mean something. But also, Alabama's got one more wins ranked than Miami. And Indiana should not be in the playoff because, well, look at their schedule. Nobody, except for Ohio State. And we saw how that turned out. But I do like this prediction here. I do like Alabama to go to Notre Dame and disappoint Notre Dame again. That's nothing new. That's a good matchup for the TV. People are drilling all over it. And for Alabama fans, we love playing Notre Dame. Because we own Notre Dame. But SMU, they got to win out in order for Alabama to make the playoffs. Because if Clemson beats SMU, then they're going to have another case with that as well. But I see SMU winning convincingly against Clemson. But if people want to complain and cry about it, just look up the FCS level with their 16-team playoffs. I think 16 down the road will probably be a better option than 12 because, we've seen 9-3 teams in the FCS right now that make the playoffs, and they're doing pretty good. But I do like this prediction here. The only question is, will Boise State, they really shouldn't have a bye because they look at their conference, they don't really play anybody. I'm not saying that they're bad, but I think their competition is not up to par as the SEC. And I know they played Oregon and lost, but I really do think Boise State should not be in a bye at all, really. I think every team should not be on a bye. Every team's got to play in the playoffs. That's how I feel about it. I think the buys was a bad mistake, honestly. But I'm happy that Alabama's in the playoffs. This was my birthday wish from Monday, so I'm kind of happy that Alabama is now in the playoffs. Miami, you choked against Syracuse with a 21-point lead, and they choked. That's their fault, and for not scheduling opponents.
Yep.
But I don't want to go on a rant, Kyle, about how everyone's mad at Alabama. Well, if you want to be mad at Alabama, then win. Schedule bigger opponents, or schedule Alabama themselves.
And I thought, I appreciate you calling in, Angel. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Appreciate you, man.
Roll Tide, man.
Yeah, Roll Tide too. It was disappointing to hear Lane Kiffin saying that Alabama would get in because they had a better brand. I saw Jackson Dart, tweeted out, "Hey, Alabama, let's play kind of a playoff play-in game." And I've said this before. I feel that Lane Kiffin has outgrown Ole Miss. I feel that he could be, better suited for one of the bigger jobs. Shoot, imagine Lane Kiffin. I want to put this into the atmosphere. But imagine Lane Kiffin at Ohio State. That's terrifying. I think that he's kind of been maxed out at Ole Miss, and I think he's right. They don't have the brand. He is that coach. He does want to win. He does have players, but he's not at a school with a big enough brand. The reason they didn't make the playoffs, you can go back and forth on why they didn't make it. They do have a quality win over Georgia, and he has a nice little resume, but there's other factors why Ole Miss didn't make it. But complaining about the brand. Thought that was kind of a soft take, but Alabama, look, I would imagine he has opportunities to be at a bigger brand, right? Okay, let's go back to the phone lines. We got a 770. Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining the phone lines here on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? It's your boy Jimmy from Birmingham. How's it going, buddy?
Jimmy, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining the show. Go ahead.
Oh man, yeah. I just want to say I knew it was going to be a little drama with that seed last night, but I kind of was feeling we was going to be at that number 11 in front of Miami anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was going to be a lot of backlash. I knew it was coming last night when I watched the show. But like I said, you know, I knew when he was Manuel was talking about the reseeding and all that after the championship game. He says, no, it's not going to be any more reseeding
Yep.
For the guys that are not in the conference championship. So Bama's going to stay where they're at. To me, it's like, hey, he said we're in the playoffs. Didn't say it directly, but he said we're in the playoffs. To me, you know, that's just what it is. You know, they're number 11, whether Clemson loses or not. They're not going to put SMU in, first of all, because of SOS, strength of schedule.
Yep.
If they lose to Clemson, I mean, that's just what it is. It won't be a reseeding for that. So we don't have to beat Clemson. Doesn't have to beat SMU. I mean, I'm sorry, SMU don't have to beat Clemson for Alabama to be in. Alabama's going to be in. So I think they're good to go. Just wait till what happens this weekend. Of course, anyway, still will cheer for SMU. I think they're going to beat Clemson either way. But I think they're good to go. I think we're good to go, man. And looks like we'll be in good shape, man. I really honestly think we can go into Notre Dame and play some physical ball, beat them. And, I mean, Bama has the mentality. I mean, if Bama has the mentality like they should, they can run this damn playoff, you know? I mean, who are they scared of? They're scared of no one out there. They're not scared of Ohio State. They're not scared of Texas. You know, they're not scared of Georgia. You know, they could – I mean, it would be shocking to a lot of people that if Bama gets in this playoff, beat some teams, they're going to bite their nails. You know, they'll be like, oh, shit. You know, Bama shouldn't be in, and we mess around here and win the whole damn thing. It would be a nightmare. But I don't think no teams want to really prepare for Alabama.
Yeah.
You know, I really don't. I think we got a good chance. You know, we got in by the skin of our teeth. But if Miami wants to fuss, Mario Cristobal wants to fuss about it, win your games.
Yep.
Win your games. That's, you know, you had a 21-point lead. You know, you let them come back, you blew it. You know, so, I mean, you can't really, you know, fault them for their schedule. But the thing is, Miami was ranked number 9. He was 9-0. He was undefeated. Yep. You know, supposed to cruise through these teams, man. You know, you went out. You have a great argument. You wouldn't even be it wouldn't even be a conversation about Miami. They would be in anyway. So it didn't happen. You know, I just think the tide is in with no problem, no matter what happens between Clemson and SMU. And I think we'll be good to go, buddy.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in, Jimmy. Thanks so much, man. See ya.
All right, Kyle, roll top.
Yeah, and you know, this period, you know, taking calls, you can talk recruiting too. So if something's on your mind recruiting, let it fly. As news happens, we'll keep it covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube. This is the big board that we like to refer to. Everybody with a logo next to their name has officially signed, according to the University of Alabama's official X account. Waiting on AK Deer. I think he's signing at 12 p.m. So we'll keep you posted on that. The bottom right is an open spot for Derek Meadows whenever he does decide to announce that he's flipping from LSU. At least that's how we're looking, right, T? Yeah. Okay. And then the biggest questions right here, this is something that people continue to ask. So this is kind of like our frequently asked questions. So Michael Carroll has signed with Bama. AK Deer set to sign at 12. Ty Haywood between Bama and Michigan. Nothing has been official yet, and we are watching Derek Meadows. So, is there if there's another frequently asked question, we'll add it. But right now, those are the biggest questions, before the lunch period. So, again, here's a look at Alabama's class of 2025. A lot of stars, headlined by the guys at the top left, Keelan Russell and Michael Carroll. You get your quarterback, you get your interior offensive lineman, a guard, and Michael Carroll. I think that says a lot about the direction of Alabama's football program under Coach Kalen DeBoer. We go back to the phone lines, 251. Hey, good morning. You're on line with Kyle Anderson. Who am I on line with and where are you calling in from?
What's going on, man? It's Bryant from Mobile, Alabama. I got 3 words for you. I don't give a piss about nothing but time, baby.
Appreciate the call. That was it. It's short and sweet. And then we go to that's it. Yeah, he's just feeling good. And you know what? Being an Alabama fan, think about this. You went to bed snug in your bed. It's 26 degrees this morning. And you're happy because Alabama's in the playoffs, right? You're happy. The first thing that happens to you in the morning is you wake up and you get the number one quarterback in the country. You see what I'm saying? But also, you know what that creates? That's why also you get punched in the face one time, you freak out because things go so well. You know what? Alabama fans get their Christmas presents early. 100%. Alabama fans get their presents between December 1st and like the 10th. Every single year. Like they got to open up a little Christmas present last night. And these are like good presents. These are like the main presents. Right, T? Yeah. All right. Back to the phone lines. We got Chris in New Jersey.
It is cold down here, Josh.
Chris, what's up, man?
Kyle, Merry Christmas.
I know, right? Yeah, that's exactly it. You got to open up, okay, best Christmas present you ever opened up inside the comment box. Mine was a Super Nintendo. It was a Super Nintendo, and my mom got me Tecmo Super Bowl. That's cool. And I sat in front of, you know how little kids sit, they don't sit on the couch, they sit in front of it. Yeah. I sat on the couch on the carpet, and I played Super Tecmo Super Bowl until my thumbs fell off. Chris, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here.
Oh, Kyle, I don't know if you don't know what Coleco handheld quarterback is.
Yes,
it's
that little game where
it had little dashes. It had little red dashes.
I know what it is.
Here's the difference between me and you. You had real three-dimensional people. I had red dashes, Kyle. That's the difference. But the big thing about the quarterback one was it had passing, so you could pass the ball. If you could pass, it was like a little red dot going across the street. Beep 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 beep. You get a pass. So that was my best one I ever got. So let me go with let's have a little chatter here, Kyle. First, I'm going to say I said all along, winning in. I think I typed it to my little finger hurts. We're in now. It's a dream matchup. We're in no matter what. I said that. I mean, talk about a ratings dream. But Kyle, my brother-in-law, I've mentioned him. He's a sports writer and he works for, I guess 90 Min is the parent company, and then I don't know if they own FanDuel or. So by the way, Kyle, my brother-in-law was telling me it's not just the ratings anymore; it's the betting.
Oh, and
let me tell you something: two fan bases that bet out of the yin yang evidently are Notre Dame and Alabama, and it's not just the fan bases. No, you know what it is? It's the fan base who bets for Notre Dame, but it's the whole country who bets. Oh, by the way, all these people who hate us, yeah, they bet on us anyway, though, because they want to make money. Right?
Yep.
So we're in. I'm happy. When I saw that last night, I was on the show. I was, I predicted it. I think SMU wins, so it's not going to be an issue. And I think even if I swear, if Clemson beats SMU, I think they'll knock SMU out. I mean, I think that the guy. He was. I don't know if you saw the head of the CFP, the guy who's the athletic director from Michigan. He looked nervous because those guys are haters. That booger, what's his face? They hate us, man. I can't stand this. And McElroy, who I like, of course, he's our great quarterback. But he plays Switzerland. He tries to be neutral. I'm like, Saban doesn't play neutral. Yeah. Come on, man. Give us some love. So anyway, all right. So anyway, we're in now. Let's talk about. Sugar plums dancing in our head. You know what my sugar plum is? Is that with the kid with the Red Ryder BB gun? Is my dream of Christmas is Keelan Russell long bombs to Ryan Wilson. Ryan Williams, boom,
yep.
Boom. So that's our Christmas movie. So I mean, listen, I think this class is fantastic, and we didn't get 04. That was my that was the one I wanted. That was the one I wanted, but And I think that the lineman is fantastic. Now, people forget one thing is we're going to go to the transfer portal and get some players. There's some players. Remember, Williams came from Ohio State. He wanted to come to Bama. Jameer Gibbs. So there's some people out there who are like, I'm going to Bama.
Yeah.
Bama's got it. Bama might be in the national championship picture again next year. They got this great quarterback. And by the way, I can't believe that Michigan and the Barstool guy didn't go after our quarterback, because our quarterback is better than that quarterback. 100% played in tougher competition.
Man,
I've been looking at his highlights. So the only thing is, Kyle, I think we got to come up with Keelan Russell. That's just too long to say. I think we've got to name him K. Russ. I don't know. Maybe we'll go to the undefeated, and you and T come up with a name. But Keelan Russell, we can't be saying that all the time, Kyle.
Keelan Russell. Yeah, it is. Like, right? Keelan Russell.
KS.
Yeah. Keelan
So we'll
Russell.
figure that one out.
Right.
But thank God he signed, Kyle. Oh,
yeah,
my God. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, Christmas came early. Christmas Eve was last night. Today's Christmas Day. And any chance, have you heard from all your sources, any chance we're going to get a surprise that we don't know about?
I don't think so. I mean, never say never on signing day. That's the one thing I learned. It's like signing day, who knows? But it seems like yeah, Devon Starr.
Yeah,
Donovan Starr. It seems like Donovan Starr, who I believe is committed to Auburn, might be another guy that could maybe flip in the final hours or whatever. But I haven't really heard like anything big. But who knows? I mean, signing day is crazy. You think about it. We woke up this morning and Clarizio was like, "No, I'm staying in East Lansing." So whatever. I mean, signing day.
Rutgers just smoked down. I went to Rutgers. So if Rutgers smokes you, you got issues.
Yeah.
So, and did Ford sign with Auburn?
I think I haven't seen that. It looks like that is trending that direction. So we'll see it. We'll see if that happens. Well, but I think he might.
You and T have some eggnog. It's a great day. And thank you for what you do. My best to you. My best to the undefeated. Roll Tide.
All right, Roll Tide, too, man. All right, take it easy. All right, that was Chris out in New Jersey. What's interesting is JG. This is for you, bro. Inside the comment box, saying the stars are off. So these stars, I go off the consensus stars on 3. So I get it. There might be some stars that if you use different, because there's 3 recruiting sites. There's On3. There's Rivals, really, I mean, ESPN too, right? And 24/7. I just put the stars off on 3 just to keep it easy. But if there are, some variations of some guys, like, maybe we'll make adjustments. But this is, I think this is sufficient. I don't think there's one guy that has, Latier Brooks isn't a 5-star, and neither is Micah DeBose. Those guys are 4 stars, T. Up on the top right, I guess I did that. So I'll fix that. If there's anything else you see, like some sort of glaring issue, I'll update it. But thank you so much. Appreciate it. Gary, what's up, man? The signing day info. Hype is all blown up. Team needs to fill gaps, holes, coach them, scheme, execute. That's how you win. And the thing about signing day is I think while it is still exciting to talk about and discuss, the thing that's more interesting now is transfer portal, because it takes some time for these guys to develop and these guys to come in and but like the transfer portal is the most important exciting thing about college football now. That along with these playoffs, who's going to get in, who's going to get out. David, what's up, man? Good morning to you. He just logged in. This is the board. The logos indicate which players have officially signed. We're waiting on AK Deer, who should be signing at 12. And these are our frequently asked questions, David. So this is basically like these should answer all your questions right here. Michael Carroll has signed with Bama. AK Deer set to sign at 12 p.m. Ty Haywood between Bama and Michigan. And we are watching Derek Meadows.
To Bishop Gorman. Derek Meadows goes to Bishop Gorman.
Yeah.
So their signing ceremony is at 5:30 Central today.
5:30 Central time?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I might not know anything from him until this evening.
Wow. 5:30 Central. And then Coach Kalen DeBoer is at 4. And let's see what else we got. Jace Clarizio flipped from he's doing flips.
Michigan State to Bama to Michigan State.
Yeah.
So do you want me to add that one?
Maybe just like way up at the top. And if you could put like a graphic of like some little guy like flipping.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we go back to the phone line, but be sure and check this this graphic. I'm rotating the top 3 up at the top in terms of like the graphics. So I'm working from this graphic, and then the college football playoff bracket, which you've seen. So probably leave it up here. But, you know, talking college football playoffs, signing class, whatever you want, 531, you're up next. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with this morning?
Hey, Kyle, it's Brad from Omaha calling.
Brad, what's up, man?
Doing today?
You know, that was like a rough takeoff on an airplane. You know, usually they're smooth. Like right now, we're just like a little bit bumpy. So the cruising altitude should be fine moving forward. But please keep on your seatbelt. Brad from Omaha, what's up, man?
Not much, man. I didn't call in last week because I had superstitions of like, is this the week to call in? Maybe I lay off. Maybe I come back next week after the playoff rankings and let's see where we're at. I think I made the right choice doing that. So I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad we're in the playoff picture. Man, there's a lot to dissect. So the first thing that I love seeing is that they basically respected strength of schedule to the very end. I don't know why anybody entertained South Carolina or Ole Miss getting in. It just never made sense to me. I mean, Ole Miss, when you compare them to Alabama, they're going to say, yeah, they had the better win against Georgia. But if you take the 3 losses that Alabama and Ole Miss had each, Alabama's combined opponents they lost to are 22-14 on the season. Ole Miss's losses are 19-17.
Yeah.
It's not comparable. They have way more losses in between for the 3 teams they lost to, and they probably lost to the 3rd worst team in the SEC. So I really didn't understand the Ole Miss argument. In South Carolina, I mean, if you're 9-3, head-to-head's always going to matter. And people have to stop with the, but they're playing the best football. Well, they lined it up on the field, and they settled that debate right then and there.
I think that South Carolina is a team, as I've been mentioning, that nobody wants to deal with. Very good team in terms of they've kind of found themselves at the back end. And look, if we're talking just straight top 12 teams, South Carolina's in. The problem is you have to get a group of 5. You have to get Boise State. Who wins? I'm not even going to ask it inside the comment box. Who wins, Boise State or South Carolina? Who wins, Arizona State or South Carolina? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Look, what if South Carolina was independent? What if Ole Miss was independent? They would be in the playoffs. So, look, teams want to be a part of the SEC for the money and the TV contracts. I can't even imagine what those are. But the clear way to get into the playoffs is to not be in a conference and to schedule a light schedule and to just win all your games. Because Ole Miss would have the same. Ole Miss would have the same record, if not better than Notre Dame. Maybe they have like the same record. No, they wouldn't have lost to Northern Illinois. So yeah, Ole Miss, drop out of the SEC, be independent, and we'll see you in the playoffs every single year.
I could see it. I could also see them getting penalized if they can't get the schedule together to have that strength of schedule, and if they messed around and lost a couple games, that would hurt them. It's the same thing for Notre Dame too. If they had lost another game this year, the committee basically was almost hinting at you're done because Northern Illinois is unforgivable. At least the losses we took, yeah, they were to bad teams, but when you compare us to South Carolina and Ole Miss, I mean, aside from Oklahoma, all 3 played LSU, and we know what the results were.
Yeah.
2 teams lost by 3 points. One smoked them by 29.
Yeah. And I think Lane Kiffin's was, I think his comment was, hey, we beat Oklahoma, and Oklahoma beat up on Alabama. I think that's what he said in his little thing that he sent to the college football playoffs.
Yeah. And I want to ask you a question. And I know the committee says that they don't want to do any reseedings, but play committee chair with me for a minute.
All right.
Let's say that what we think doesn't happen happens. Let's say that Penn State does beat Oregon. Let's say Georgia beats Texas. Are we sure? I mean, when I look at it, Oregon's probably going to be the 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
But are we sure that Texas is going to drop all the way down to 7?
No, I think
I could see them finishing at 6.
No, I think if Penn State beats Oregon and Georgia beats Texas, I think you put Texas at the 6th spot and you put Oregon at the 5 spot.
Now that would keep us in the South for the first round, and I would love to see that game.
Yeah, you'd be taking on. Yeah, it'd be Alabama traveling to Austin to take on Texas in that scenario.
Right. I'm just interested to see if the committee, when they say we're not going to do any reseeding of the other teams, I wonder if what the conference championship results will be, if they maybe rethink that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested to see how they handle that if that scenario happens. I don't see Penn State beating Oregon. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really going to be close, but I don't see it happening. I think if Georgia does end up beating Texas, I think they probably at least get to 6, regardless of how the Big Ten championship ends. And I love this playoff field and the way it looks right now. I would say the only team I might have a gripe for, and trust me, I do not like this team. Tennessee being on the road at Ohio State, I think they're getting robbed. Ohio State should be penalized way more than they are.
Yeah, I mean that loss was ugly. Yeah, they could have done Ohio State bad, and who knows, maybe they do fall a little bit further based on the outcome of championship Saturday. But I think you bring up a good point. I mean, Ohio State losing on the back end, to unranked Michigan. Maybe they factored into a rivalry game or something like that. But they're at 8. I don't think a 10-2 warrants them to go on the road. Maybe that was kind of the rationale, and part of that was because Georgia and Tennessee, and Georgia beat Tennessee, and I don't know. Maybe Tennessee should be hosting Ohio State. They have the same record, right? Tennessee finished out the season better than Ohio State. Maybe put Tennessee at that 8 spot and give them the home field advantage and punish Ohio State by putting them on the road because you didn't get the job done at the back end. Maybe that's what they should have done. Good point out. Anything else, Brad?
Yeah. No, as far as recruiting goes, Marshall Pritchett's probably the one I'm most looking forward to, aside from, obviously Keelan Russell and from Michael Carroll. Pritchett's just a freaking beast, dude. I think he's going to get a lot of playing time. I think he's going to be a rotational player probably to start out, but I think he'll see the field quite a bit in his first year, and I think he's one of those sleepers that, we signed him, and it's kind of like, oh, hey, you got a couple stars next to your name, you're probably going to be good. But I think he and Kalen DeBoer's offense is going to contribute very early, and I think he's going to get quite a few, snaps under his belt in his first year.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate you joining us, man.
Yep, I appreciate it. Roll Tide, Kyle.
All right, roll Tide to you, man. Thank you so much. Brad calling in from Omaha, brought to you in part by Omaha Steaks. Now available at the bottom. Just kidding. Have we had Omaha Steaks before?
I haven't, no.
I've heard that they are amazing. Has anybody done, because I think can we look this up? If you just go to Omaha Steaks, it's as simple as going to that website and you can order. Has anybody inside the comment box ever ventured out, got a little crazy, and ordered Omaha Steaks?
I'm on the site.
Look. If I'm going to have a steak, I'm the type of person, if I'm going to have a steak, I go to the grocery store and I buy it, and I have to have it that day.
They're half off today, too.
Omaha Steaks, they're on Cyber Monday?
Yeah.
Are we feeling crazy?
Let's do it.
All right, so Omaha Steaks, curious about it. All right, and curious to get your take on the college football playoff bracket or this recruiting class that is currently number 2 in the country. KTK can confirm that Omaha Steaks is solid. Jimmy Williams is saying, look, there's a lot of positive reviews. Oh, Daniel came through with that they're overrated. Sorry. Okay. No, we want the feedback. But sometimes you just have to try for yourself, you know?
Good ranchers.
All right. We're still waiting on, I guess, AK Deer. And then, T, maybe if you could add this to our frequently question right here on Derek Meadows, maybe saying signing at 5:30 Central Time. Right? Okay. Let's go back to the phone lines. This is a live update you're seeing here on the screen. All right, call line's open. So if you want to call in and chat with us, we appreciate it. I'll go back and highlight, some of this recruiting class and what we were talking about because it's been a significant day for Alabama, and I think the first year, right, of Coach Kalen DeBoer, it's impressive to see how he's been able to put this class together, right? Who would have thought that he takes over? And that just tells you about how strong the brand is for Alabama football, right? And him coming from the West Coast, you see the West Coast ties to California. I mean, 6 in the hole, right, from California. Dejon Lee, Jackson Lloyd, Chuck McDonald, Caleb Edwards, Cavante Henry, Abdul Sanders, Alex Osbroff, right? All those guys from California. And I think, Courtney Morgan, right? He has West Coast ties as well. The pinnacle piece is clearly Keelan Russell, the number 1 player out of the state of Texas. Number 2 is Michael Carroll. And I showed you his highlight tape earlier. His highlight tape is absolutely phenomenal. I'll go back on this video and I'll put the timestamp so you can check out the highlight tapes. It'll take me a little bit of time to do. It won't be long. Dejon Lee, another 5-star for those of you wondering where the 5 stars are on the defensive side of the ball. And honestly, look, I know you got Jackson Lloyd in here too, but one of the players that I certainly want to hype up, first of all, have you guys seen this guy? Justin Hill. This was a guy who picked Alabama over Ohio State. This guy, okay, does anybody know how big Freddie Roach is, Alabama's defensive line coach? He's a big man. I'm telling you, he's a big human being. Justin Hill is bigger than him. He don't look that big in this photo right here, this little graphic, and he's super athletic. This could be a sleeper out of this class. Maybe not. I mean, he's a highly rated 4-star. Maybe people are just excited about him. He is a quarterback headhunter. I'm serious. But this guy, we watched this highlight tape, and this guy was hitting people all over the field. Daryl Duke Johnson, this guy, another athletic guy. This guy right here, Cavante Henry. We watched his tape earlier too. He don't play. He will get to the quarterback. And I think considering you're losing 2 from that wolf position and, Q Rob and Keanu Coat, this guy, just wait. Big Chevy has Duke as that guy. All right, we go. I think we have a call coming in, 703. All right, first time caller. What's up? How you doing this morning, Kyle Henderson? Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. I'm calling from Washington, D.C. My name's David.
David, how's it going, man? Good morning to you. I used to live in D.C. I worked on. I lived in physical D.C. One time, and another time I lived in Virginia, Alexandria. And I would take. Do you know where Braddock Station is? It's on the blue and yellow.
Yes.
Yeah, so I lived at Braddock Station, and I take it in, and I worked at Federal Triangle. So I think, if I remember correctly, I had to transfer at LaFont Plaza, and then head over to Federal Triangle. I worked at the EPA. So I love D.C. Yeah. I need to get back up to D.C. So welcome on in. You said your name was.
You're a Commanders fan, right?
No, I'm not a Commanders fan. I do like what Jaden Daniels is doing. I like Brian Robinson. He's been eating a little bit, but no, I'm a 49ers fan. I have to say I'm a 49ers fan. It's been a rough season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, anyways,
and don't forget Daron Payne's with us too, ex-Alabama player.
Well, there was a time where the Commanders were just picking up Alabama players like to a draft. right? They were saying like it was the Washington Roll Tide or something like that there for a while. Did you say your name was Daryl? I apologize.
David.
David. All right. David from DC. Welcome on in, man. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've always been a glass half empty person. I guess I'm a little bit on the pessimist side. Sorry to say that, but that's the way I've always been. But if I look at it this way, if Georgia loses to Texas, I think the number one reason why we got in is our victory over Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Texas, let's say, beats the point spread against Georgia, that'll make our win look a little less impressive. And if Clemson turns around and beats SMU, do you still feel that we'll be in the playoffs?
Yeah, I do. After listening to Manuel's comments last night, it seemed like reading between the lines that Bama's kind of solidified their spot in the playoffs. But I get what you're saying with Texas beating Georgia. That's why I was so nervous that Georgia Tech might beat Georgia, because then I think the ACC's kind of overall rating would have went up a little bit, and Georgia's would have went down a little bit. So thank goodness they won, because you're right. You're not lying. I mean, Alabama is hanging on to that Georgia win. And look, that first half of play is what everybody in the bracket is scared of. If that Alabama team plays in that first, if they find, and who knows, maybe that was fake news. I have no idea. But if they put that game together, they'll saw through the tournament. They really, that's what makes them so scary in the playoffs, because there was 11 million people that watched that game. And they all saw what we saw.
Yes.
I was tweeting. I was like, this is the best Alabama team ever. And then at the second half, we were like, ooh, man, they're going to lose. And then we're like, oh, they're going to win. It still make your heart go up and down, that game. But I think we've gotten to this part that the SEC champ, considering the parity and considering that those two teams were able to get to that point in the SEC championship, I don't think that either of those teams will be punished. Like, punished by mean like got kicked out of the playoffs. I think Georgia probably goes to, I don't know. I have a bracket somewhere that lists if Texas wins. I think Georgia probably goes to like 7. They'll still be hosting 7 or 8 or something like that. But I don't think it'll hurt Alabama overall.
Yeah, if the mindset for the committee is to have only one ACC team in, then we are definitely in.
Yeah.
So. And plus, if we're slated to play Notre Dame, I mean, the ratings on that is going to be much better than most NFL games on Sundays.
For sure. 100%. I mean, think about it. People still want Notre Dame to be good. They want, the Golden Domers. It takes you back to your childhood when that was the only game on NBC. It was like a family affair, right? Gather around the TV and watch Notre Dame come out. Rudy, the movie, made it seem like this, incredible place and all this stuff. So I get it. I grew up the same way. But the truth of the matter is they don't play in a conference. They don't play a tough schedule. Their team is good. It's good every year, but they're not elite. And we've seen Notre Dame and Alabama match up before, and it's pretty much been the same story every time. I think the last time the game was a little bit tighter, but overall, Alabama dominated. So I think that Notre Dame would really have a really hard time with Alabama. I really do. I think that SMU would have a hard time with Alabama. That's why I like this bracket, and I really have Alabama as only the 6th, or as the 11 or the 12, meaning that they might draw Boise State in the quarterfinals, and they might draw an SMU in the quarterfinals. And hey, that's the way the bracket's set up. And I think those bode well for Alabama. So who knows, any given Saturday. And I like Alabama at that 11 or 12, probably 11. Cause I don't think Arizona State's going to jump Alabama.
The other day, no one wants to play Alabama.
They don't.
Playoffs. No.
Same thing. No one would want to play South Carolina right now, and no one would want to play Ole Miss.
Yeah. So.
All right, man.
Yeah, we get in the playoffs, and then our basketball team's rocking and rolling.
I know we haven't even
Alabama.
Yeah, we haven't even had an opportunity to talk about Alabama playing North Carolina. That game's today. I think Jarvis put it inside the comment box. I think Alabama's favored by 2. the schedule's been crazy. Alabama
games tonight, yeah.
Yeah, Alabama basketball is basically like playing in the tournament right now. That's how hard their schedule is. They're like playing in like the tournament. So, all right, appreciate the call, David. Thanks for chiming in.
Okay, Merry Christmas to you and your family. You
Yeah,
take care.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. That was David calling in from D.C. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I loved living out in D.C. Frequently asked questions. We'll revisit that real quick. Michael Carroll has signed. That is good. T?
No, the university is just getting roasted on these graphics. It's terrible.
Can we show one of the graphics and let's ask the people?
Yeah, what do you
can you just make a graphic and just showcase one of them, and then we'll ask. Look,
they're terrible. They're really bad.
Usually, and I don't think this has anything to do with the board or anything like that.
No.
I think there's a new graphics team that took over this year. Okay, so you know how this works. Every single year on this day, this is like the graphics. Like you find out who has the best graphic team. It's really an arms race of talent and who can put together the best video. And these graphics are kind of the cornerstone piece of your graphic department. They pay these people hundreds of thousands. There's probably somebody out there that is making hundreds of thousands of dollars, $400,000 a year to make these graphics, right? They have the best computers. They have a team of 15 people. I'm telling you. It's like serious. They have, it's this like little techie area, and they're responsible for putting out the graphics that go out to everywhere, right? They're like the brand of Alabama football. For the last couple years, the graphics have been pretty much spot on. Really, they've been the graphics that have really stolen the nation's attention, and like Alabama's it, right? The videos are still good. But these graphics, here they are. I mean, look, and I love art just as, like, I love oil paintings. I'm not going to lie. I love oil paintings. I love art. I like to appreciate it. I'm not really into like new age art. This is a little too strange for me. Timothy, what's up? I see you inside the comment box. See, the Agony Flowers likes the graphics. But here are the graphics that Alabama's putting out. What I want to ask, and we'll add another one. What I want to ask inside the comment box is, let's have you sound off. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you like the graphics? 10 being like, I love them, or 1 is like, yo, that's not it. It makes me feel a little weird. So 1 to 10, sound off inside the comment box. I'm going to say, oh man, look. I love how David called in. He's like, I've always been basically a pessimist. It takes someone grown to say that, because people are always like, yeah, I'm a glass half full. No, you're not. I don't know. Someone's saying, who's it saying minus 100? I might say, man, they're bad. Man, and now everyone's comments, they're seeping into me too. Little slime, man. We're just hitting on graphics for just a second, man. Is part of the camaraderie of the day. They're creeping me out. And they're creeping some people out. I would say 0. No, they're terrible. Ty says 10. Could be worse. All right. So these are the graphics. All right. So they missed on the graphics. I don't know. They'll rebound. Anyways, just wanted to ask you about that, because it's not it. This is the only time that I've seen them miss on it. I mean, usually it's like spot on. All right. I haven't seen the Tennessee graphics. We'll go into it. All right. Here's a look at the signing class right now. It's come together really nicely. You're waiting for A.K. Deer. There's nothing to worry about. It's just he's signing at 12. How this works is they send in the official paperwork. Remember the old days, like the fax machine? I was trying to explain that to T. In the old days, the player used to sign paperwork and then used to fax it to the university. They used to have, and I don't know why. You know what? If a university really wanted to go above and beyond, what they should do is bring back the fax machine. Seriously, the anticipation. Remember the fax machine? You know how it works, right? And when it's printed out on the other side, and get like one of those slow printers, beep, 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 and you would just like, who's it gonna be? Look, I'm telling you how to do things before you do. I bet you someone does that because people love that, right? And you could have a camera on the fax machine, like when it's coming in, and then they can have the NFL type music come in. Do 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 do. I'm just saying, making things up. Tighter in Florida. What's up, man? Says Jaden Daniels was nowhere near this good in high school. Yeah, look, you're talking about AK Dare. Let's run a couple more highlights real quick, and we'll continue to wait for news as it happens. You remember the fax machine, though? I'm serious. This was like a big deal. All right, let's look at for those of you that have just joined or that maybe missed this in the beginning hour. What we did was we went over these players' highlights, and we started out, of course, with Jaden Daniels, Keelan Russell, right? I'm flying 100 miles an hour here. And what he brings to the table: 6'3", 182 pounds, consensus 5-star, number 1 player in the state of Texas, almost 7,000 yards, only 5 interceptions over the last 2 years, comparable to Jaden Daniels. Tighter in Florida says Jaden Daniels was nowhere near as polished as Keelan Russell is at this point in time. I think that he's going to compete for the starting job. I really do. And you're like, how? You have this stacked quarterback room coming behind him. Yeah, I think that's true, but I think he's a unique talent in the sense that he's not comparable to any of the quarterbacks of the past. He brings a different skill set. I think he's kind of a blend of a Michael Penix Jr. and a Jaden Daniels. If you were to kind of morph those two, you see his playmaking ability. He's able to step up in the pocket. He has a really good deep ball. He has elite wide receivers. He has playmaking ability, as you saw right here, able to throw. One thing that he does is he throws really well on the run. Really well on the run, all right? And the thing about it is you can list him as a dual threat, 100%. But I think it's weird because I think he's a pocket-style quarterback first with somebody that can run. And here he is on a 64-yard scramble, all right? So he's not a burner. I mean, he's not running 22 miles per hour here like Milroe, but he can run. And I don't think he's comparable to Mac, to Bryce, to Milroe, or Hurts, or Tua. I think he's completely different, and that's fine because it gives you a taste of what's to come from Coach Kalen DeBoer and his overall offense, right? So, Phil Franco saying, God, I can't wait for a traditional quarterback. I think you're going to get that, and I think that's what he's bringing to the table. That is why I feel that we haven't seen real Kalen DeBoer's offense yet, which is crazy to think about because it's his first year. But I think he's going to be the guy, or like an Austin Mack, or I guess you could say Ty Simpson, someone to operate that. But right now, you can't bench Milroe because of his overall playmaking ability, right? And the whole feast or famine type deal, right? So Keelan Russell coming in, he's got it. Deep ball, pocket presence, he could run. Really great. You know what? One of his best attributes is throwing on the run. And I mentioned this a couple times, is that you don't necessarily think about this, what I'm about to say. We'll go right back to the film real quick. One of the things about Milroe that you don't often see, because of his running ability, you don't see him get like 10 yards out and make a throw into the end zone to like find a wide receiver or like someone open. If they do, he's kind of throwing to like one-on-one coverage, like a jump ball. But what I've seen from Keelan Russell in the tape that I've watched is he can move around inside the red zone and then find an open receiver. Now, Jalen doesn't have to do that because he's 235 pounds and they use him in a design quarterback run, or he can just run into the end zone, right? So throws well on the run. He's got size. I think he's probably 6'4". And excited to have him. And I think he'll be somebody that can get the football to a lot of different wide receivers. That's why if I'm one of these wide receivers, I'm staying patient and I'm seeing what happens with the quarterback situation at Alabama. Now, getting Michael Carroll, 6'6", 315 pounds out of the IMG Academy, I told you how important it was. And you have, look at this. Look at Michael Carroll. He's absolutely just throwing kids around at the high school level. He's big, nasty. And I pointed this out when we looked at his film earlier. One of the things that's amazing to me is how much, and this is his junior year. This isn't even film on him this season at the IMG Academy, right? He's going to come into Alabama and work at the guard position on the offensive side. Big dude. Someone even questioned earlier if he could play tackle. Maybe. But Michael Carroll is just as important as Keelan Russell. That is now the foundation of Kalen DeBoer here at the University of Alabama. 100%. So, really good signing class. These guys, headline the class. Keelan Russell and Michael Carroll. He's a bruiser. He's mean. He's big. Alabama needs a guard. I don't know who that guard is going to be. I think there's plenty of competition on the offensive line, but when you look to Alabama's offensive line, Proctor's coming back. Parker Brailsford's coming back. Jane Roberts is coming back. Welcome Formby, Elijah Pritchett, right? Big Chevy, I think you're 100% right. I think that Ty Haywood would have been icing on the cake. I really do. But it looks like he's going to eventually flip to Michigan, which I think is a big loss. Because I think you could have put Michael Carroll, start working him at guard, and then start having Ty Haywood at the tackle position, and then you're good to go. Now you don't have that. So you got to figure out what you're going to do from a tackle standpoint. And I think you just go into the transfer portal. Still watching Michael Carroll beat up on these poor high school kids. It'd be really sad, if your son was going against Michael Carroll. Michael Carroll would just be like feasting on him. So that's kind of a look at, the two completely absolute pieces that you need for Alabama's signing class. And that was a quarterback that could come in and really work Kalen DeBoer's offense, and a guard that could do his thing as well. Look at the big board one more time. I appreciate you guys being here and rocking with us for our signing day show. We've been streaming for 240. The news to follow throughout the day, and of course, if any news happens, major news, we will either go live or I'll have a video that follows up on the recruiting class. We're still watching A.K. Deer. He's going to sign here in a little bit at 12. And then Derek Meadows, he doesn't sign until the afternoon portion at 5:30 Central Time, and Coach Kalen DeBoer is at 4 p.m. Central Time. So Kalen DeBoer can talk about the guys that have signed. He cannot talk about the guys that are not signed. We will keep you posted on news as it happens. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much for joining our signing day show, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will put inside the timestamps, areas to watch player highlight tapes if you're interested in that. And if you have questions for us, drop it inside the comment box. But we will be live as major news happens. So be sure and hit that subscription button so that you are notified when news drops. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys had a fantastic time. Thanks, Steve, for helping out on the show. Thought we, covered all our bases. We're just waiting on A.K. Deer and Derek Meadows. And it doesn't look like Ty Haywood will sign. So that's kind of where we are at this point in time. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy all the amazing content out there from all the great content creators. Be sure and support all of those content creators, whether they have big channel, small channel, all your recruiting sites. I hope you guys are locked into all of your stuff related to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Please follow us on Facebook as well. Alabama Crimson Tide on YouTube, but on Facebook. But I think you could type in Bama Football YouTube on Facebook and find our channel. We got like 40,000 followers or something like that. Follow us. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for calling in. I hope you have an amazing day. Coming to you from beautiful, beautiful Hollywood, Alabama. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Kalen DeBoer at 4. Derek Meadows at 5:30. A.K. Deer at 12. All right. We appreciate